At Morixa Tales, we believe in the power of storytelling. Our scripts weave together deep emotions and dramatic turns to deliver justice where it is most needed. Experience captivating mysteries where the truth eventually shines through, leaving a lasting impact on your heart and mind.
9 months after my husband died, I hired a contractor to check a strange gas smell in the garage, just behind the office where he used to spend long, quiet evenings. I was sitting in church when my phone vibrated. His voice was urgent, unsteady, almost shaken. "You need to come home right now. I found something hidden behind the wall, and you have to come alone." I slipped out of the service, my heart pounding. When the metal panel swung open and I saw the fireproof box labeled with my husband's label maker, I knew every secret was about to surface. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. Before we dive in, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, your city, your country. I'd love to know who's part of this community. It helps me understand my audience better. Quick heads up, this story blends real-life lessons with some fictionalized details for entertainment and teaching purposes. Any similarity to actual names or places is coincidental, but the message, that's what truly matters. Let's begin. It all started with a phone call during Sunday service. I was sitting in Willow Creek Community Church 10th pew from the front trying to focus on the sermon. The pastor was preaching about walking through the valley of sorrow, and every word felt like it was meant for me. It had been 9 months since Graham died, 9 months of waking up to an empty bed, 9 months of pretending I was okay when I wasn't. The sermon hit too close to home. Then my phone buzzed in my purse. I felt a flash of guilt as I glanced down. You're not supposed to check your phone in church, but something told me this wasn't a text I could ignore. The name on the screen made my stomach drop. Diego Ortega, the contractor I'd hired Friday morning, to check out a faint gas smell in the garage. The message was short, but it stopped my heart. "Mrs. Callahan needs you home now. Don't bring anyone, just you, alone." My hands went cold. I looked up at the stained glass windows, the rows of familiar faces singing hymns, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. I grabbed my purse, slipped out the side door, and hurried across the parking lot. My fingers shook as I dialed Diego's number. He picked up on the first ring. "Diego, what's going on?" I tried to keep my voice steady, but it came out thin and strained. His voice was calm but urgent, the way someone sounds when they're trying not to panic you. "I found something behind the wall. You need to see this. Just you. No one else. Is it dangerous?" My mind raced. Gas leak, structural damage, mold? No, but... He paused and I could hear him take a breath. "I think your husband left this for you. Please, come home now." The line went dead. I stood there in the church parking lot, the December wind biting through my coat, staring at my phone like it might give me answers. Graham left something for me after 9 months. I got in my car and drove. The 9-minute drive felt like an hour. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. What could Graham have hidden, and why would Diego sound so rattled? My mind kept circling back to the same thought. Why didn't I know? Graham died on March 15th, 2021. A heart attack. He was 43 years old, healthy, careful. We ran Callahan and Hollis Property Management together. I handled day-to-day operations, and my younger sister Veronica worked as a consultant. Graham was the methodical one, the planner, the guy who labeled everything with his label maker. If he hid something, he had a reason. I turned onto Hawthorne Ridge Drive at 10:35 a.m. The house looked quiet, normal, the kind of normal that made my skin crawl. Diego was waiting in the driveway, tool belt slung low on his hips, his expression serious. He was a solid guy, early 40s Mexican-American, the kind of contractor who showed up on time and didn't cut corners. I trusted him. "Found the leak," he said, his voice low. "But that's not what you need to see." He led me into the garage. The big metal tool chest that usually sat flush against the back wall had been pulled away. I could see fresh drag marks on the concrete floor scraping through years of dust. Diego pointed at the marks. "This cabinet was moved recently, less than a month ago. See these scratches?" I nodded, my throat tight. Behind the tool chest, a section of drywall had been cut out and propped to the side. Behind it was a recessed cabinet built into the wall studs, maybe 2 feet wide, bolted to the frame. I'd never seen it before. Diego crouched down and pointed to the gas line. The fitting here was loosened. Not by accident. Someone bumped it, twisted it. He showed me fresh scratches around the cabinet latch. Someone tried to pry this open about 2-3 weeks ago. When they couldn't get in, they shoved the chest. That shifted the gas line. The slow leak built up after that. That's why you smelled it this week. I stared at him. Someone broke into my garage, tried to get into this cabinet. Diego nodded. And the cabinet, it's not locked, just latched. Whoever it was tried to force it, but didn't understand how simple the latch is. Do you want me to stay as a witness? Yes, please. My hands were shaking as I reached for the latch. It was a basic flip mechanism, something Graham would have done on purpose. Easy for me. Impossible if you didn't know. I lifted it. Inside was a fireproof lockbox the size of a small microwave. On top, there was a white label printed from Graham's beloved label maker. I recognized it instantly. He used that thing for everything. The label read, "Emergency, for Audrey only." I held my breath and opened the box. It wasn't locked. Inside were stacks of cash $100 bills bound with rubber bands. My brain registered the amount before I could fully process it, $38,750. There was a thick manila envelope stuffed with papers, a USB drive and a Ziploc bag labeled in Graham's neat handwriting, "Evidence password protected," and a letter 2 pages folded neatly written in the careful script I knew so well. Diego stepped back. "This is private. I'll be outside if you need anything." He left quietly, pulling the garage door shut behind him, and I was alone. The space still smelled like Graham the sandalwood candle he kept on his workbench, motor oil sawdust from his weekend projects. I could almost feel him standing next to me, watching, waiting for me to understand. With trembling hands, I unfolded the letter. The first line hit me like a punch to the chest. "Audrey, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I didn't get to finish this. Your sister Veronica has been stealing from our company for the past 4 years." I stopped reading. I couldn't process it. Veronica, my baby sister. 4 years. The words blurred in front of me. I read the line again, hoping I'd misunderstood. But the handwriting was unmistakably Graham's. The label maker, the careful organization, the hidden cabinet, this was real. He'd built this entire mechanism to protect evidence. Evidence against my sister. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I nearly dropped the letter. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely pull the phone out. Another text, this time from my mother Eleanor. "Thinking about you today. Call me when you can." The timing felt strange, too coincidental, but I couldn't think about that now. I looked back at the lockbox, the cash, the USB drive, the manila envelope thick with documents, and the letter I'd only read 1 line of. I folded the letter carefully, placed it back in the box, and closed the lid. Whatever was in there, whatever Graham had discovered, it was big enough that he'd hidden it behind a wall, protected it with a mechanism that would alert me if someone tried to break in. Someone had tried, recently. And now I had to find out why. I sat down on the cold garage floor and forced myself to read the rest. The phone in my pocket kept buzzing, probably someone from church wondering where I'd gone, but I silenced it without looking. Whatever it was could wait. This couldn't. I read slowly, my lips moving as I spoke the words aloud to myself. It was the only way I could process what I was seeing. "Audrey, if you're reading this, I'm gone and I didn't get to finish what I started. I'm sorry. Your sister Veronica has been stealing from our company for 4 years. Over $400,000. She created a fake consulting company, Hollis Consulting LLC, and billed us monthly for services she never performed. I have proof. But it's worse than that. She tried to frame you. She forged your signature on vendor contracts. She created fake emails from your account to make it look like you were embezzling. I caught her. I gave her 6 months to pay it back. In September 2020, I confronted her privately. She cried, begged for more time. I agreed because you love her and I didn't want to hurt you by destroying your family. She didn't pay back a single dollar. She escalated. More forgeries, more lies. By February 2021, I realized she was dangerous. I built this cabinet with a mechanism if someone tried to force it open without knowing how it would shift the gas line slightly. Create a slow leak over a few weeks. Not dangerous, just enough for you to call someone to investigate this wall. If you're here, either you smelled the gas or Veronica came looking and triggered it herself. The USB password is something only we know, our most private pain. I was supposed to meet with lawyer Warren Grisham on March 1st to file charges. I should have told you immediately. I was trying to protect you. That was a mistake. Everything you need is here. Finish this for us. I love you. Graham. P.S. The spare key to this cabinet is taped inside the lid of the lockbox. I sat in silence, the letter resting on my lap. I couldn't cry. I was too stunned. Veronica, my baby sister, stole $412,000 and tried to frame me, forged my signature to make Graham think I was the thief. He'd known since 2020, carried this alone for a year and a half, investigated his own sister-in-law while still sitting across from her at family dinners, pretending everything was normal. And then he died just one day before the lawyer meeting. He wrote March 1st in the letter, but his death certificate said February 28th, 2021. The weight he must have carried. A sick kind of guilt crept in. Did the stress contribute to his heart attack? The undiagnosed condition the doctors said killed him. An arrhythmia no one knew about, could stress have triggered it? Stop. Heart disease is genetic unpredictable. But still, the burden. I took a breath and turned back to the lockbox. The cash was still there, stacked neatly in rubber-banded bundles. I counted it twice, my hands shaking. $38,750. Mixed denominations, hundreds, 50s, 20s. Graham must have been stockpiling it, pulling small amounts from our accounts over months so Veronica wouldn't notice. The manila envelope was thick, stuffed with bank statements. I pulled them out carefully. 48 months of statements, each one marked with a yellow highlighter wherever the words Hollis Consulting LLC appeared. The amounts varied. $7,900 one month, $11,200 the next, $8,400 after that. Graham had written notes in the margins running totals, question marks, circled dates. On the last page in red pen, he'd written total $412,890. $412,890. Gone. The USB drive was black, 64 gigabytes labeled in Graham's careful handwriting, evidence password protected for Audrey. I set it aside and checked the spare key Graham had mentioned. I peeled back the felt lining inside the lid of the lockbox. Taped underneath was a small brass key, stamped with the number 186. Below it, another label, Guardian Storage, Lancaster Road. A storage unit. Graham had a storage unit I didn't know about. A soft knock on the garage door frame made me jump. Mrs. Callahan, you okay in there? Diego. I looked up and realized I'd been sitting on the concrete floor for over half an hour. My legs had gone numb. I need some time to process this, I said, my voice hoarse. Diego stepped inside, wiping his hands on a rag. I finished repairing the gas line. The leak's safe now. But ma'am, you should change your locks. Someone had access to your garage. He handed me his business card. If you ever need a witness statement, if this is what I think it is, I'll testify. I saw where it was hidden, the pry marks, everything. Thank you, Diego. He nodded once and left quietly, his footsteps fading down the driveway. I was alone again, surrounded by evidence of my sister's betrayal. I gathered the lockbox, the letter, the cash, the statements, and carried them inside to the kitchen table. It was noon now, 2 hours since I'd left church. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. I opened my laptop and plugged in the USB. A password prompt appeared immediately. Enter password. I typed in our wedding date, June 14th, 2017. Hit enter. Access denied. I stared at the screen, my heart sinking. Graham's words echoed in my head. The USB password is something only we know. Our most private pain. Our most private pain. What pain had Graham and I shared that Veronica couldn't possibly know? By midnight, I'd tried 18 passwords. All denied. I'd worked through every obvious choice, methodically typing each one into the laptop with fingers that grew stiffer and colder as the hours passed. The kitchen had gone dark around me except for the glow of the screen. Wedding date, June 14th, 2017. Denied. My birthday, March 3rd, 1982. Denied. Graham's birthday, March 15th, 1978. Denied. Our home address, 1847 Hawthorne. Denied. The business name, Callahan Hollis. Denied. Anniversary markers 6 years 2017. Denied. Our names in every combination I could think of. Audrey Graham, all denied. The Salem zip code 97301. Denied. City variations. Salem, OR, denied. Then I'd gotten desperate. Generic words that felt like a bad guess, even as I typed them. Password evidence Veronica. Denied. By 11 o'clock, I'd cycled through 18 combinations. The cursor blinked at me, mocking. I wanted to throw the USB drive across the room, but I didn't. It might be the only copy of the evidence. I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. The kitchen was silent except for the low hum of the refrigerator. Graham's coffee mug was still on the dish rack. I hadn't been able to bring myself to put his things away. His jacket hung on the hook by the door. The label maker sat on the counter where I'd kept it, using it occasionally because it reminded me of him. Small, mundane pieces of a life that was gone. I opened my eyes and stared at the letter lying on the table. The USB password is something only we know, our most private pain. Pain, not joy, not a happy memory. What pain had we shared that no one else knew about? I checked the clock on the stove, 12:47 a.m. It was late, too late to call anyone. But I couldn't do this alone. I pulled out my phone and dialed Fiona Reeves. We'd been best friends since college roommates from 2002 to 2006, back when we were both figuring out who we were. She'd been at my wedding. She'd held my hand at Graham's funeral. If anyone could help me think clearly, it was her. She answered on the third ring, her voice thick with sleep. Audrey, it's almost 1 a.m. I found something. Graham left something. I need help. Can you come over? Her voice sharpened immediately. Are you safe? Are you okay? I'm safe, but please, I need you here. 20 minutes. Fiona lived 15 minutes away in West Salem, but she'd told me 20 to account for throwing on clothes and driving in the dark. She was practical like that. It was one of the reasons we'd stayed close all these years. True to her word, she knocked on the door at 1:10 a.m. She was my age, 39, with shoulder-length auburn hair that was currently pulled into a messy bun. She worked as an administrator at the Marion County Recorder's Office, handling property deeds and land records. Divorce, 3 years ago, no kids, fiercely loyal. Tonight she was wearing sweatpants, Ugg boots, and an oversized Portland Trail Blazers hoodie. Okay, she said, stepping inside and locking the door behind her. Show me. I showed her everything. The letter, the cash, the bank statements, the locked USB drive. She read the letter twice slowly, her lips pressed into a thin line. When she finished, she set the letter down and looked at me. What the hell? Veronica, your sister, Veronica. I nodded. $400,000, over 4 years. Fiona exhaled sharply. That's not desperation, that's organized theft. And she tried to frame me. I said, my voice cracking. She forged my signature, created fake emails from my account. Fiona's jaw tightened. That son of a bitch. She didn't mince words when she was angry. It was one of the things I loved about her. I almost laughed, a brief, exhausted sound that came out more like a wheeze. Fiona pulled up a chair and sat down across from me. Okay, the USB password. Graham said, most private pain. Show me what you've tried. I turned the laptop toward her and showed her the notepad where I'd written all 18 attempts. She scanned the list, then looked up at me. These are all practical things or happy things. Wedding birthdays work? She tapped the letter. Graham said pain. What pain did you and he share that you never told anyone else? She paused, her expression softening. Even me, I froze. Audrey. There was only one thing Graham had ever called our most private pain. The thing we never spoke about except to each other. The thing we'd hidden from everyone, my mother, Eleanor, Veronica, even Fiona for years. My voice came out as a whisper. I think I know. Fiona leaned forward. Tell me. I shook my head. Not yet. I need to look at the bank statements first. Clear my head. She didn't push. She never did. Okay, she said gently. Let's spread them out. See what she really did. We pushed the laptop to the side and dumped the manila envelope onto the table. 48 months of bank statements fanned out across the surface, each one marked with yellow highlighter. Fiona picked up the first one and traced her finger along the highlighted line. Hollis Consulting. LLC, January 2018, $7,900. She looked up at me. Every single month. I nodded. Every month for 4 years. We spread the 48 months of bank statements across the kitchen table like crime scene evidence. January 2018 to December 2021. Graham had highlighted the critical transactions in yellow. Fiona and I worked through them in chronological order each statement, revealing another piece of the puzzle. January 2018. Hollis Consulting, LLC, $7,900. Property Management Coordination. February 2018. Hollis Consulting, LLC, $8,200. Market Research Services. March 2018. Hollis Consulting, LLC, $11,400. Rental Inspection Consulting. Every single month, the same payee, Hollis Consulting, LLC. The amounts varied anywhere from $7,900 to $12,400, but the pattern was unmistakable. The service descriptions were vague, corporate-sounding, the kind of language that sounds legitimate until you realize it means nothing. Fiona tapped the name with her finger. Hollis. That's Veronica's married name, right? She married Trevor Hollis in 2016, a year before these invoices started. Fiona pulled out her phone calculator. She added up each highlighted amount line by line. The total climbed steadily: 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. The final number, $412,890. Fiona set the phone down. Graham was right. $412,890 over 48 months. I did the math in my head. That's over $8,000 a month for 4 years. We manage 60 rental units. That's $137 per unit per month in consulting fees. Fiona looked up at me. For what services? That's what I can't figure out. I've never seen Veronica inspect a single property. She shows up at the office maybe twice a year. Fiona pulled another statement closer, studying the dates. So where was the money going? I pointed to the account number listed under each transaction. Into that account. Graham circled it in red on the last page. We flipped to the final statement. Graham had written in the margin, account 7734-HCL, Veronica's personal account per county records. Personal, not business. Fiona leaned back in her chair. She wasn't billing the company for services. She was just taking the money. I nodded slowly. The weight of it was starting to sink in. Graham had written notes in the margins of several statements. The first question mark appeared on the June 2019 statement. His handwriting, services unclear, ask V. So he'd started to suspect something in mid-2019. But the detailed investigation notes didn't begin until September 2019. September 2019. Check LLC registration. November 2019. Vendors don't know who she is. March 2020. Fake emails, IP traces. His notes became more urgent as time went on. By December 2020, after he'd confronted Veronica and given her 6 months to repay the notes, turned grim. The final note dated February 2021. Meet W. Grisham March 1st, enough evidence. He died on February 28th, 2 days before that meeting. I stared at the date, my throat tight. He'd been so close. Fiona reached across the table and squeezed my hand. He did the hard part, Audrey. He documented everything. I nodded, unable to speak. Fiona straightened up, her expression shifting into professional mode. I work with LLCs every day at the recorder's office. I can look up Hollis Consulting tomorrow. Can you do it tonight? She shook her head. The system goes offline after business hours. But first thing Monday morning, wait. It is Monday. I'll pull the records when I get to work at 8. She explained, if it's a legitimate business, there'll be a state registration, a registered agent filing history, a physical address. And if it's fake, then it's a shell company, just a name on paper. That's fraud, Audrey. With this much money? She paused. If she really stole this, we're talking felony embezzlement. The silence between us felt heavy. Audrey, Fiona said quietly, with amounts this large. If she actually took this money, we're talking about serious prison time. Years. She's my sister. She's a thief who tried to frame you. I couldn't argue with that. Fiona tapped the September 2020 statement. Graham gave her 6 months, from September 2020 to February 2021. The letter said so. And the letter said she didn't pay back a single dollar. She made it worse by forging more documents. Fiona met my eyes. She had a chance to make it right. She chose not to. I looked down at the statements, at Graham's neat handwriting, at the yellow highlights that marked each theft. My sister had stolen over $400,000 from our company. She'd forged my signature, created fake emails in my name, and when Graham gave her a chance to fix it, she doubled down. "What do I do?" I whispered. Fiona's voice was firm but kind. "Tomorrow, today, Monday, I'll look up the LLC at work. By noon, we'll know if it's registered, who owns it." "Then what?" "Then you need a lawyer. Graham mentioned Warren Grisham in the letter. That's where he was going. Should I call him?" "Yes, but after we confirm the LLC is fake, go to him with facts." I nodded, exhausted. The clock on the stove read 2:47 a.m. Fiona stood up and started gathering her things. "You should sleep. I can crash on the couch if you want." "I'm okay. You should go home, rest before work." "You sure?" "I'm sure." She hugged me tight and fierce. "We'll figure this out. Graham left you everything you need." After she left, I sat alone at the table staring at the statements. 48 months of evidence. $412,890. My sister's betrayal documented in yellow highlighter and red ink. At 2:58 a.m., my phone buzzed. Who texts at 3 in the morning? I checked the screen. Mom, Eleanor. A text, not a call. "Can't sleep, thinking about you. Have you gone through Graham's things yet? Call me when you can." I stared at my mother's message. 2:58 a.m. She was awake, texting me, asking about Graham's belongings. Why now? 9 months after he died, was she suddenly asking about his things? I didn't reply. Instead, I took a screenshot of the message. Something was wrong. I'd slept 3 hours. At 8:15 a.m., the phone rang. It was Mom. I answered groggily, my voice thick with exhaustion. "Mom," Eleanor's voice was clipped, irritated. "Audrey, just checking in." Her first real call in 6 weeks since Thanksgiving. She'd been distant since Graham's funeral, pulling back in a way I'd never been able to understand. I'd thought she blamed me for something, for not noticing he was sick, for not saving him somehow. "How are you?" Eleanor asked. "Work okay?" The small talk felt forced, mechanical, like she was reading from a script. Then, "Have you cleaned out Graham's office yet? His personal things?" My radar went up immediately. "Why do you ask?" Eleanor paused just long enough to feel calculated. "It's been 9 months. Sometimes organizing helps, brings closure. I've started going through some things," I said carefully. Her voice tightened. "Business papers or just personal items?" "Both." "Why is there something specific you're asking about?" Silence. A long one. "No," Eleanor said finally. "It's just, if you find anything unusual, anything that doesn't make sense about the business." "Like what?" "Nothing specific. But if you have questions, maybe talk to Veronica first. She understands the financial side better than I do." I gripped the phone tighter. "You want me to talk to Veronica about Graham's business records? She worked with Graham on the consulting contracts. She'd know if something looked confusing." Eleanor was steering me. "But why? What did she know?" "I'll keep that in mind," I said evenly. "Good, I have to go. Talk soon." She hung up. No, "I love you." No warmth, just a click and silence. I stood in the kitchen staring at the phone in my hand. The timing, a text at 2:58 a.m., then a call at 8:15 a.m., asking about Graham's records. Had someone told her to ask? I walked over to the kitchen drawer where we kept the spare house key. The key was still there, but it was lying loose at the bottom of the drawer, half buried under takeout menus and rubber bands. I always hung it on the little hook inside. When was the last time I'd used the spare key? I couldn't remember. Maybe when I'd locked myself out last spring, or had that been 2 years ago? I went to the back door, the one that led from the kitchen into the garage. No damage to the lock, no scratches. But if someone knew where the spare key was kept, they wouldn't need to break in. Family would know. Veronica had been to this house hundreds of times over the years. She knew the layout of the kitchen, where we kept things, where we hid the emergency key. Diego said someone had tried to pry open the cabinet 2 to 3 weeks ago. late November. I checked property units 2 or 3 evenings a week. The house was empty from 4 in the afternoon until 8 at night on those days. Plenty of opportunity for someone to slip in unnoticed. At 9:30 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Veronica. "Hey sis, been thinking about you. Miss you, it's been too long. Coffee this week." The casual cheerfulness felt obscene now. The last time we'd really talked was at Graham's funeral 9 months ago. Before that, weekly calls, monthly lunches, holiday dinners. We'd been close. Or I'd thought we were. Veronica was 5 years younger than me, 34 to my 39. She'd always been the baby sister, the one everyone protected. She'd married Trevor Hollis in 2016, a nice guy, a civil engineer, quiet and steady. No kids yet. They lived in a different Salem neighborhood about 15 minutes away by car. She'd done consulting for our business since 2018, which I now knew was theft. I stared at the text. 2 things were obvious. The timing was too convenient. Mom called at 8:15. Veronica texted at 9:30. Veronica hadn't reached out in 9 months, and now she suddenly wanted coffee. They'd talked to each other. They'd coordinated this. One or both of them knew I was investigating something. I typed back carefully. "Sure, how about Thursday, 2 p.m.? I wanted to see her face, gauge her reaction, watch her lie to me in person. Veronica's reply came within seconds. "Perfect marché on State Street, can't wait to catch up." The exclamation points felt like weapons. Another performance. Another mask. I typed, "See you then." I set the phone down. She had no idea I'd found the lockbox. No idea I'd read Graham's letter. No idea I knew about the $412,890 she'd stolen. Let her keep playing normal. I'd gather information. I'd watch her perform. At 10:03 a.m., the phone rang again. Fiona. "I'm at work. I pulled the LLC registration for Hollis Consulting." And registered December 2017, 1 month after your business partnership with Veronica began. My stomach dropped. Fiona continued, her voice steady and clinical. "Sole owner Veronica Hollis. No employees listed. No physical office address. Just a P.O. Box 4481 Salem. It's a shell company. Completely. It exists only on paper. No business activity except billing your company." Fiona paused. "Audrey, this is criminal fraud, premeditated. She registered the LLC before she sent the first invoice. She planned this from the beginning." Yes. Silence hung between us. I could hear the faint hum of office noise on Fiona's end phones, ringing voices murmuring the normal sounds of a Monday morning. "What do you want to do?" Fiona asked quietly. "I need to call a lawyer. Warren Grisham, the one Graham was supposed to meet." "Do you want me to come with you?" "Not yet, but soon." After we hung up, I opened my laptop and typed into Google, "Warren Grisham Attorney, Salem, Oregon." A law firm website appeared, Grisham and Associates, Estate and Fraud Litigation. There was a phone number in bold at the top of the page. My finger hovered over it. Graham was supposed to call this number on March 1st. He died on February 28th. I pressed call. 3 days later, I was sitting at Marché watching my sister walk through the door with a smile that used to feel genuine. I'd arrived at 1:50 p.m., 10 minutes early, and chosen a table near the back facing the entrance. Marché was busy for a Thursday afternoon. The lunch rush hadn't quite cleared out yet. The smell of fresh baked bread and roasted garlic filled the air. Conversation hummed around me, the clink of silverware on plates, the hiss of the espresso machine behind the counter. I wanted to observe Veronica before the interaction began, to see her unguarded for just a moment. At 1:58 p.m., she walked in. Designer bag of Coach crossbody in caramel leather. Where did the money come from? Trevor's civil engineering salary or the stolen funds? Her auburn hair was freshly blown out at the kind of salon finish that cost $100. Expensive clothes, a charcoal wool blazer over a cream silk blouse, dark jeans that fit perfectly, ankle boots with a low heel, gold hoop earrings, makeup, flawless foundation, mascara, the works. She looked polished, put together, like someone who had nothing to hide. The smile that lit up her face when she saw me was bright, effortless. She weaved through the tables and pulled me into a tight hug. Her perfume was sweet floral, too strong. "You look good," she said, stepping back to examine me. "Are you sleeping better?" I forced a smile. Some nights are easier than others. We sat down. A server came by, a young woman with a nose ring and a cheerful demeanor. I ordered black coffee. Veronica ordered an oat milk vanilla latte extra foam. "So, how have you been?" Veronica asked, folding her hands on the table. "Really getting by," I said. "Work keeps me busy." She nodded sympathetically. "That's good. Staying busy helps." Small talk followed. The weather, Oregon winter rain, relentless this year, the kind of gray drizzle that never quite stopped. The upcoming holidays. Did I have plans for Christmas? Was I going to Eleanor's? Veronica was hosting a small dinner at her place, just her and Trevor and a few friends. I should come. "I'll think about it," I said. She leaned forward, her voice soft. "I saw Mom last weekend. She said you've been pretty quiet lately. She's worried about you." "Grief doesn't move in a straight line," I said evenly. "Of course not." Veronica reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I just worry about you alone in that big house. It's a lot of space for one person. I'm managing." She hesitated, then spoke carefully. "You know, if you ever want to sell me and Trevor could help. The market's really good right now. We could connect you with a great realtor. You could downsize, get a fresh start." Interesting. Was she trying to push me out of the house, away from the evidence hidden in the garage? I took a sip of my coffee. "I'm not ready to sell yet, but I'll keep that in mind." Veronica nodded, but I saw the flicker of something in her eyes. Disappointment. Frustration. I pivoted. "Actually, I wanted to ask you something work-related." Her smile tightened just a fraction. "Oh, you used to do consulting for our company through your LLC, right? Hollis Consulting." "Yeah." She stirred her latte, the spoon clinking against the ceramic cup. "But I closed it last year. It wasn't worth the overhead. Too much administrative work for not enough return." "What kind of consulting did you do exactly?" She rattled off the answer smoothly, like she'd rehearsed it. "Mostly vendor coordination, property management liaison. I'd connect landlords with service providers, plumbers, electricians, that kind of thing. Sometimes I'd help negotiate contracts, make sure we were getting competitive rates. Did you ever go out to inspect properties yourself?" "Some, not often. Why do you ask?" I kept my tone casual, curious. "I'm just trying to understand Graham's records. I've been going through his filing cabinet, organizing everything. There's so much paperwork, contracts, invoices, expense reports. I'm trying to make sense of it all." Veronica's fingers tightened slightly on her coffee cup. Subtle, but I saw it. "You're going through his business records?" "Yeah, old contracts, invoices, contractor agreements, payment histories. Graham kept everything." "What have you found so far?" I shrugged. "Lots of invoice records, payment histories going back years. Some of it's confusing without context." Veronica set her cup down and leaned forward, her expression earnest. "If you want help, I could come by the house. I know the company structure. I could walk you through what everything means." "That's sweet of you." "Really, Audrey, I mean it." Her voice was sincere, concerned. "Some of those records might look confusing if you don't know what you're looking at. I don't want you to misunderstand something or get stressed out trying to figure it all out alone." There it was, misunderstand. She was worried I'd interpret her theft as, what, legitimate, consulting a billing error. "I appreciate that," I said. "I'll let you know if I need help." I shifted topics, keeping my voice light. "Oh, random thing. I had a gas leak in the garage last week." Veronica's eyes flickered just for a second. A micro-expression there and gone. "A gas leak. That's really dangerous." "It wasn't serious. Just a loose fitting on the line. The contractor said it looked like something had bumped into it." "Oh." She picked up her cup again, took a sip. "Probably just the house settling or something. Old houses do that." "Maybe." But the weird thing was, the contractor noticed someone had moved my tool chest recently. There were fresh drag marks on the garage floor. Veronica set her cup down carefully, her movements controlled. "Did you move it?" "No, I haven't touched the garage in months. Haven't needed to." Her smile froze just slightly. "Maybe Graham moved it before he—" The contractor said the marks were less than a month old. He was pretty specific about it. "That's strange." I watched her process the information, saw the brief flicker of panic cross her face before she smoothed it away. "Did he say anything else?" she asked. "He noticed some scratches on the cabinet latch, like someone had tried to pry it open with a screwdriver or something." Veronica's face went very still. "That's concerning. Do you think someone broke in? I don't know. There was no sign of forced entry on the doors, but I'm thinking about installing security cameras. Better safe than sorry. That's a really good idea, she said quickly. You should definitely do that. Trevor could help you set them up if you want. He's handy with that kind of thing. I'll keep that in mind. The subject changed after that. Veronica asked about my plans for Thanksgiving, whether Eleanor and I were on better terms, how work was going. The conversation wound down naturally over the next 20 minutes. Nothing explosive was revealed, no dramatic confrontation, but I'd seen enough. The tightened grip on the coffee cup when I mentioned going through records, the smooth, rehearsed explanation of her consulting work, the offer to help explain the files to control the narrative before I understood the truth, the warning about misunderstanding, a preemptive defense, the flickering eyes when I mentioned the gas leak, the frozen smile when I brought up the drag marks, the too quick offer to help install cameras to see what I was protecting. She knew about the cabinet. She was the one who'd tried to open it. She'd triggered Graham's mechanism. At 3:10 p.m., we wrapped up. I insisted on paying for both of us. Veronica protested, but I waved her off. We walked outside together into the gray afternoon. The rain had stopped, but the sidewalk was slick and dark. Veronica hugged me goodbye tight and warm. My skin crawled. Don't let it be this long again, okay? She said, squeezing my shoulders. I miss you. I miss us. I miss you too. The lie tasted bitter. We walked in opposite directions toward the parking lot. I got into my car, closed the door, and sat there for a long moment, hands on the steering wheel. Veronica definitely knew something. Everything about that conversation confirmed it. The offer to help explain records, the reaction to the gas leak, the interest in security cameras. She was trying to stay ahead of me to control what I found and how I interpreted it. She'd been inside my house. She'd tried to open Graham's cabinet, and now she was scared I was getting too close to the truth. I started the car and drove home, my mind racing. I pulled into the driveway, put the car in park. My phone buzzed before I could even unbuckle my seatbelt. A text from an unknown number. No caller ID, just a string of digits. Stop digging through company records. You won't like what you find. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. I screenshot the message immediately and opened a text to Fiona. Anonymous threat, just got this. I attached the screenshot. Her reply came seconds later. From who? Blocked number, but I just finished coffee with Veronica 30 minutes ago. Fiona? She's panicking. Yeah. Fiona, forward that to me. Save it. That's evidence. Already done. I sat in my car staring at my house. Someone had been inside. Someone had tried to open that cabinet. And now someone was threatening me to stop looking. Tomorrow I'd call that lawyer, Warren Grisham, the one Graham was supposed to meet. This had to end now. Friday morning, I stood outside a brick building on Liberty Street staring at the brass plaque, Warren Grisham and Associates, Estate and Fraud Litigation. I took a deep breath and walked in. The receptionist was an older woman with kind eyes and silver hair pulled into a neat bun. She looked up from her computer and smiled warmly. Mrs. Callahan, Mr. Grisham is expecting you. Right this way. She led me down a quiet hallway lined with framed certificates and legal awards past a main office with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves into a private conference room. Dark wood table leather chairs, a window overlooking downtown Salem. Warren Grisham walked in a moment later. Mid-50s salt and pepper hair at the temples, sharp eyes behind reading glasses that hung on a chain around his neck. He wore a charcoal suit, white shirt, no tie. On the wall behind his desk, I'd glimpsed a framed photo of him in military uniform Vietnam service, alongside his law degree, and a family photo of two young women in soccer uniforms. His handshake was firm. Mrs. Callahan, I'm very sorry about Graham. He called your office in February to schedule a consultation. Warren nodded, his expression somber. He did. He told my secretary he had evidence of embezzlement. Asked for the earliest available appointment. We scheduled him for March 1st. He died on February 28th. I know. I'm sorry he didn't make it to that appointment. A pause. Warren gestured to the chairs. On the phone, you said you'd found something. Everything. I found everything he was going to bring you. I spread the items across the conference table one by one. Graham's letter first. Warren read it slowly, silently, his face unreadable. 5 minutes passed. He set it down carefully. The cash next, $38,750 in rubber-banded stacks. Warren raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The bank statements. 48 months, each one highlighted in yellow. I watched Warren's eyes track the repeated payments. Hollis Consulting LLC, $7,900, $8,200, $11,400. The USB drive, still locked. I explained the password issue, that Graham had protected it, that I'd tried 18 combinations and failed. Warren worked methodically, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. His handwriting was small, precise, nearly illegible. After he finished reading the letter, he looked up at me. Your husband was very thorough. He labeled everything, including the evidence of fraud. Warren pulled out a calculator and went through the bank statements line by line. He confirmed the total, $412,890. Hollis Consulting LLC, your sister's company, her married name. She registered it in December 2017, 1 month after our business partnership began. It's a shell company, no employees, no office, just a P.O. box. And these payments for services she never performed. Graham gave her 6 months to pay it back. She didn't. Instead, she forged my signature to frame me. Warren tapped the letter. The letter says that. Do you have proof of the forgery? It's on the USB. Everything's there, but I can't access it. Warren leaned back in his chair, his fingers steepled in front of him. Here's your legal position. What you have right now is strong circumstantial evidence. The bank statements prove money was paid. The letter from Graham accuses fraud. That's compelling. But Veronica can claim the consulting was legitimate. Without proof that the work wasn't performed or that the invoices were fabricated, it's her word against the letter of a deceased man. My stomach twisted. Warren continued, his tone even professional. For a civil suit, this might be enough. For criminal charges, no. We need that USB. Graham said it has forensic evidence, forged documents, fake emails, accounting records proving fraudulent intent. Warren leaned forward. That's your smoking gun. Without it, she'll claim Graham misunderstood or that the services were real but poorly documented. Family disputes are notoriously messy. You need ironclad proof. So if I can't open the USB, you have a weak case. She'll likely prevail. Silence. Warren studied me carefully. What's your relationship with your sister like? We used to be close. I thought we were. Family litigation is the ugliest kind I've ever handled. Money plus blood equals total destruction. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Veronica trying to frame me, forging my name 14 times, creating fake emails in my name, trying to break into my garage to destroy evidence. She didn't just steal. She tried to destroy me. Yes, I'm ready. Warren nodded slowly. I can't promise we can prove the stress contributed to Graham's death medically. But if that USB contains what Graham said it does, we can prove fraud, forgery, embezzlement. Felony level, prison time. How long? Combined sentences, potentially 8 to 12 years. The number hung in the air between us. I pulled out my phone and showed Warren the screenshot of the anonymous threat I'd received yesterday. I got this after coffee with Veronica. Warren read it, his jaw tightening. From her, can't prove it, blocked number. But the timing is suspicious. Warren handed the phone back. Then we're racing the clock. She knows you're investigating. She'll destroy evidence or hire a lawyer or both. What do I do? Find that password fast. Graham said, most private pain. Something only the two of you knew. I've been thinking about it. When you open it, call me immediately. We'll move quickly after that. I nodded. Warren's expression was serious. One more thing. Don't confront her. Don't tell anyone else what you have. The element of surprise is critical. I understand. He stood extending his hand again. I'll start drafting a demand letter, but I can't send it until we have that USB opened. Everything depends on what's inside. We shook hands. His grip was firm, reassuring. Thank you, Mr. Grisham. Call me Warren and Mrs. Callahan. Your husband did the hard part. He built the case. Now we just have to finish it. I sat in my car in the parking lot after the meeting, staring at the USB drive in my hand. Warren's words echoed in my mind, "Your most private pain." There was only one thing Graham and I had ever considered our deepest pain. The thing we never told anyone. Not my mother, not Veronica. Even Fiona didn't know for years. The baby, our daughter. I closed my eyes. Rowan. Saturday morning, I dumped everything from the lockbox onto the dining table. If Graham had said, "Everything you need is here," then everything had to be here. I spread the items out carefully, the cash already counted and recounted. The bank statements already reviewed line by line. The USB drive still locked, still taunting me. The letter practically memorized by now. I turned the lockbox upside down and shook it gently. Nothing rattled, nothing loose. I examined the interior more carefully. Metal walls, fireproof insulation layered between steel, a gray felt lining along the bottom glued down at the edges. I ran my fingers along the seams of the felt, pressing gently. Wait, one corner was slightly lifted, not glued down as tight as the others. I peeled the lining back carefully, trying not to tear the fabric. Underneath, taped to the bare metal with clear packing tape, a small brass key, flat stamped with the number 186. A white adhesive label was stuck to the tape, "Guardian Storage, Lancaster Road." My heart pounded in my chest. Graham had a storage unit. I'd never known about it, not in 6 years of marriage. How long had he had it? Why hadn't he told me? Then I realized a secret evidence vault. If Veronica had access to our house, she did the office. She had even the garage, proven Graham needed somewhere completely secure. Somewhere she couldn't reach. A storage unit made perfect sense. Separate location, only his name on the lease. Safe. I grabbed my phone and called Fiona. Found another key. Graham had a storage unit. What where? Guardian Storage, Lancaster Road, Unit 186. I'm coming over right now. We're going there together. It's Saturday. Will it even be open? Storage places have 24-hour gate access for customers. Bring your ID and Graham's death certificate. Why the death certificate? Proof you're the widow. Legal right to access his property. Trust me. 20 minutes later, Fiona arrived with 2 coffees and a cardboard tray. She handed me one. "You look exhausted. Haven't been sleeping much." "Understandable. Let's see what he left for you." We drove northeast for 15 minutes into an industrial area near Interstate 5. Guardian Self-Storage sat behind a tall chain-link fence with a keypad gate and security cameras mounted on poles. The building itself was corrugated metal, painted bright orange rows of roll-up doors, stretching in long lines like storage lockers in an airport. It looked like every other storage facility in America, anonymity by design, forgettable on purpose. Office hours posted on the gate 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekends. Lucky. We walked into the small office. A young guy sat at the front desk, early 20s, wearing a Guardian Storage polo shirt, his expression bored until he saw the death certificate. I slid across the counter. His face changed immediately. "Oh, I'm really sorry for your loss, ma'am." "Thank you. Unit 186, Graham Callahan. I have the key." "Let me pull up the account." He typed on the computer, squinting at the screen. Paid through the end of 2025. He prepaid 3 full years in advance. I held my breath. When did he do that? January 2021. 2 months before he... The guy hesitated awkwardly, not wanting to say the word. "Before he died," I finished quietly. January 2021, right before he died. Graham had been preparing for this. "You have the key, so you're good to go. Gate code is 4792#. He handed me a printed map of the facility with the unit circled in red marker. Row E, back corner. Can't miss it. I punched in the code 4792#, and the gate rolled open with a metallic screech. Concrete pathways stretched between rows of storage units. Quiet except for the distant hum of the interstate and the occasional car passing on Lancaster Road. Ground-level units lined both sides, orange doors with black stenciled numbers. Row E, back corner. Unit 186. Fiona and I stood in front of the roll-up door. Standard padlock looped through a metal hasp. The brass key fit perfectly. My hands were shaking as I slid the key into the lock. Fiona put a hand on my shoulder. "Whatever's inside, we'll handle it together." "Okay." I nodded, unable to speak. I turned the key. The lock popped open with a satisfying click. I gripped the door handle, cold metal, and pulled up. The door rolled upward with a loud shriek that echoed down the row. Needed oil. Motion sensor fluorescent lights flickered on inside, humming faintly. The space was small, maybe 5 by 10 feet, mostly empty. Against the back wall, 4 cardboard boxes stacked neatly 2 by 2. Standard banker's boxes, white with black text printed on the sides lids, taped shut with brown packing tape. Each box was labeled in Graham's precise black marker, handwriting the kind of handwriting I'd recognize anywhere. Box 1, Hollis Consulting, fake invoices. Box 2, email evidence, IP traces. Box 3, timeline and accounting records. Box 4, Audrey, read first. Fiona exhaled slowly beside me. Jesus, he documented everything. Box 4 says read first. Then that's what we do. We carried box 4 out to the car together. It was lighter than I expected, leaving the other 3 boxes for now. I needed to see Graham's instructions first. I locked the unit, tested the padlock twice to make sure it was secure, and we walked back to the parking lot. We sat in the car with the heater running, Oregon drizzle beginning to fall outside, tapping softly against the windshield. I cut the tape on box 4 with my car key, the blade slicing through easily. Opened the cardboard lid. Inside, 3 items. Graham's leather-bound journal. Black worn at the edges, the cover soft from years of use. I recognized it immediately. I'd given it to him for our 3rd wedding anniversary. A Ziploc bag containing a second USB drive labeled in Graham's handwriting, backup, same password. A thick manila folder labeled, Forgeries, Audrey's signature. Fiona stared at the journal in my hands. That's his personal journal. He wanted me to read this first, before I look at any of the evidence. I opened the journal to the first page, my hands trembling slightly. Graham's familiar handwriting filled the lines. The date at the top, March 15th, 2019. The first entry read, Notice something odd today. Invoice from Hollis Consulting, LLC, $8,200. Asked Veronica what services she provided. Her answer was very vague. Made a note to track this. March 2019. He'd suspected nearly 3 years before he died. I looked up at Fiona, my throat tight. He knew from the beginning. We sat in the car at the storage facility parking lot, rain, drumming steadily on the hood, and I opened Graham's journal from the very beginning. I read aloud so Fiona could hear. March 15th, 2019. Notice something odd today. Invoice from Hollis Consulting, LLC, $8,200 for property vendor coordination. Asked Veronica what exactly that included. She said coordinating contractors' negotiating rates. Sounds reasonable, but I don't remember seeing her at any of those properties. Made a note to track this. June 3rd, 2019. 3 more invoices. Total now $31,400 since January. Asked Veronica for specifics. Which contractors, which properties, how much saved. She got defensive, said I was micromanaging. Said she'd send a report, never did. September 12th, 2019. Checked Secretary of State database. Hollis Consulting LLC registered December 2017. Sole owner Veronica Hollis. No employees. P.O. box address. This isn't a real business. She's billing us for nothing. I stopped reading. Fiona said quietly, September 2019. That's when he knew for certain, sure. More than 2 years before he died. I turned the page with trembling fingers. December 2019. Pulled 3 years of QuickBooks, $127,000 paid to Hollis Consulting since January 2018. Called 2 contractors Veronica claimed to have coordinated. Neither has ever heard of her or Hollis Consulting. Services were never performed. This is embezzlement. March 2020. The frame-up. Veronica came to my office today, alone, closed the door, said she needed to show me something difficult. I pulled out email printouts, supposedly from Audrey's account to a contractor discussing diverting funds to a personal account. Said she'd been tracking this and found them. Said she didn't want to believe it, but the evidence is clear. I looked at the emails. Audrey's name signature, but I know my wife. She would never do this. Checked server logs right after Veronica left. The emails were sent from IP192.168.1.147. That's Veronica's home IP. I have it from when I helped Trevor set up their router. Audrey's office IP is completely different. Veronica forged those emails. She created them to make me think Audrey was embezzling. She's not just stealing. She's trying to frame my wife for her own crimes. I feel sick. I stopped reading. Couldn't continue. My hands were shaking badly now. Fiona's voice was tight with anger. She tried to make him turn on you. My voice cracked. Graham never said a word, never suspected me. Just quietly investigated her. I wiped my eyes and forced myself to keep reading. June 2020. Found 3 contractor agreements from 2019 to 2020. Audrey's signature on each approving new vendors. But Audrey never signed. These asked her casually yesterday showed her the vendor names. She has no idea who they are. Compared signatures. Their scans digitally pasted. Veronica forged Audrey's signature on contracts approving fake vendors. September 18th, 2020. Confronted Veronica today. Private in my car, Starbucks parking lot. Showed her everything. She collapsed. Crying. Admitted gambling problem. Showed me casino statements, $180,000 in losses. Said she was trying to get out, made bad choices, panicked. Begged me not to tell Audrey. Said it would destroy her relationship with her sister, with her mother. I told her 6 months. Pay back every dollar by March 2021. Get treatment. If she does, I won't press charges. Why did I give her this chance? Because Audrey loves her sister. Because I can't stand to see her heartbreak again. I paused reading the next entries silently first. My throat closed up completely. September 25th, 2020. Still haven't told Audrey she's been so happy lately, business finally profitable. She signed 2 new property contracts. She's laughing again. Really laughing for the first time since we lost Rowan. How can I tell her that her only sister has been stealing from her and trying to destroy her? How can I shatter that happiness? If Veronica pays it back in 6 months, Audrey never has to know. Problem solves itself. She keeps her sister, keeps her happiness. I'm a coward, but I can't break her heart again. Not after Rowan. I closed my eyes, tears streaming down my face. Fiona reached over and gripped my hand tightly. He was protecting you, she whispered. He carried it alone because I was happy, because he didn't want to break me. I forced myself to keep reading through blurred vision. November 12th, 2020. Audrey asked me yesterday if I was okay. Said I seemed distant. I lied. Said work stress. But she's thriving. New clients. Talking about hiring an assistant buying office space. If I tell her now everything stops, she'll spiral. I'll carry this burden a few more months. January 15th, 2021. Veronica hasn't paid back a single dollar. More excuses. She's forging more things. I was wrong to wait. Meeting lawyer Warren Grisham on March 1st. I'll tell Audrey on February 28th. No more protecting Veronica. February 28th, 2021. Final entry handwriting, shaky, lawyer meeting 9 a.m. tomorrow. Finally ending this. Audrey, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. Sorry I waited. Sorry I kept secrets. The password is Rowan2011. Our daughter we lost. I never forgot her. Everything is on the USB. Use it. Finish this for us. I love you. G. I closed the journal. We were sitting in my kitchen now. I'd driven home while reading Fiona driving my car behind me. I didn't remember the drive at all. Fiona said softly, Rowan2011, that's the password. Our daughter. Miscarriage in 2011, 18 weeks. We named her. Never told anyone except our parents, and they're both gone now. I pulled out the USB drive. My hands were steady, now filled with purpose. Let's open it. Laptop on the kitchen table. USB plugged in. Password box waiting. I type slowly ROWAN2011. Close my eyes. Hit enter. The screen loaded for what felt like forever. A folder appeared, evidence, Veronica Hollis fraud. 237 files, organized into subfolders with systematic naming. 01 underscore invoices, 02 underscore emails, 03 underscore QuickBooks underscore exports, 04 underscore forgeries, 05 underscore casino underscore records, 06 underscore IP underscore forensics, 07 underscore video underscore testimony. Each folder had a readme.txt file explaining the contents in Graham's precise language. Graham was meticulous even in his digital filing, organizing evidence the way a prosecutor would. Fiona exhaled beside me. He built an entire case. I clicked into 01 underscore invoices. 52 PDF files, each one a fake invoice numbered sequentially. I opened one at random. Invoice underscore Hollis underscore consulting underscore January 2019.pdf. It looked completely professional, company letterhead with a logo she'd probably designed herself. Invoice number HC 2019-001 payment terms. Net 30. Bill to Callahan and Hollis Property Management. Services rendered. Property vendor coordination. 12 units. Amount due. $820. Authorized signature Veronica Hollis. I right-clicked, checked properties. The metadata was damning. Author Veronica Hollis. Computer name Veronica-HP-laptop. Date created January 15, 2019, the same date as the invoice date. Fiona leaned over my shoulder reading. She made these on her personal laptop, didn't even bother hiding the metadata. She thought no one would ever look. I found Graham's analysis spreadsheet, invoice underscore metadata underscore analysis.xlsx. Opened it. A detailed table, every invoice tracked by file name creation, date, author, field computer, i.e. D amount. All 52 invoices showed the same pattern, same computer, same author created within hours of being submitted. I moved to 02 underscore emails. 89 email files in .eml format organized by month. Email chains between Veronica and supposed vendors. I opened a sample November 2019 services from Pacific Property Vendors at gmail.com to Veronica at hollisconsulting.com. Body text. Per our discussion, services completed for November, coordinated inspections on 8 units, negotiated vendor contracts with 3 providers, renewed maintenance agreements. Invoice attached for your records, total $9,400. It looked entirely legitimate. Professional tone, specific details, attached invoice. But Graham's forensics folder had a detailed report, email underscore forensics underscore report.pdf. I opened it, my hands shaking slightly. Technical analysis, IP trace logs, timestamp comparisons. The conclusion was stark. Every vendor email sent from IP address 192.168.1.147. Same IP for all 89 emails. That was Veronica's home IP. Graham had documented it when he helped Trevor set up their router. The Gmail accounts were created on the same dates as the invoices they referenced. She'd literally emailed herself pretending to be vendors. Fiona shook her head slowly. She wasn't even good at this. Same IP for everything. She thought no one would check. I moved through folders 03 through 06 quickly, my heart pounding faster with each click. Folder 03, QuickBooks, full accounting exports in Excel format. Showed the complete money flow company checking account to Hollis Consulting, LLC, to Veronica's personal checking account ending in 7734. Every wire transfer cleared within 48 hours of invoice payment. Immediate cash withdrawal pattern followed each deposit. Graham's handwritten notes scanned and attached. Behavior entirely consistent with embezzlement and money laundering. Folder 04. Forgeries 14. PDF. Files each, showing split-screen comparisons. Left side, my authentic signature from our 2017 partnership agreement, scanned in high resolution. Right side, forged signature from various 2019 to 2020 vendor contracts. The differences were subtle, but visible, slightly different. Pen pressure, inconsistent letter spacing. Attached forensic report, signature underscore analysis, underscore report underscore forensic document examiner.pdf. Expert witness Janet Kroger, certified document examiner, Portland, Oregon, licensed and bonded. Conclusion in bold, 87% probability of forgery based on stroke analysis. Clear evidence of digital manipulation and paste techniques. I stared at my own forged signature on the screen. Felt violated in a way I couldn't put into words. She'd stolen my identity to cover her crimes. Folder 05. Casino records copies of Veronica's personal casino player account statements. Graham's README explained, found USB drive in shared office computer, April 2020. She'd left it plugged in accidentally, copied all contents before returning it to her desk. Spirit Mountain Casino, Oregon. Monthly statements from January 2018 through December 2020. Page after page of losses. Slot machines, table games, poker. The final page showed the 3-year total, $179,500 in losses. Motive confirmed and documented. Folder 06. IP forensics technical files, server logs, IP address traces, domain registration records, voice lookups. Every fake vendor email originated from Veronica's home IP. She'd registered all the vendor domain names in the same week, March 2019, using her personal credit card. All domain emails forwarded to her personal Gmail account. Finally, folder 07, video testimony. One single file, Graham_Callahan_testimony_February 20_2021.mp4, 4 minutes 12 seconds. I hovered the mouse over the file, my hand trembling. Fiona asked quietly, "Do you want me to leave? Give you privacy?" "No, please stay." I double-clicked. Graham appeared on screen, sitting on the workbench in our garage, the label maker visible on the shelf behind him. Timestamp in the corner, February 20th, 2021, 6:30 p.m., 8 days before he died. I pressed play. Graham's voice calm, and measured the voice I knew so well. "My name is Graham Callahan. Today is February 20th, 2021, 6:30 p.m., recording this as insurance. Veronica Hollis has embezzled $412,890 from our company through a fake consulting business. I've documented everything on this drive. She also attempted to frame my wife Audrey for the crimes, forged Audrey's signature 14 times on various documents, created fake emails to make it appear Audrey was involved. Digital forensics proved these forgeries came from Veronica's personal computer. I confronted her in September 2020. She admitted to a gambling addiction, showed me casino statements. I gave her 6 months to repay the money and seek treatment. She hasn't paid back a single dollar. She's forged additional documents since then. Why didn't I go to police immediately? Because Audrey loves her sister. I tried to handle this quietly, give Veronica a chance to make it right. I was wrong. Veronica doesn't deserve protection. I'm meeting with lawyer Warren Grisham on March 1st. If anything prevents that meeting, Audrey, if you're watching this, use this evidence. Finish what I started. End of recording. The video ended. Silence filled the kitchen except for the rain drumming outside. My phone buzzed, shattering the moment. A text from an unknown number. "I know you found something. We need to talk. Don't do anything stupid. V." Fiona read over my shoulder. She signed it. She's that panicked. I screenshot the message immediately. This is evidence too. She's admitting she knows. What now? Now I call Warren. Tell him I have everything. The doorbell rings at 3:17 on Sunday afternoon, December 19th, and my phone screen shows the Ring camera feed Veronica standing on the front porch, holding 2 Starbucks cups. Her silver Lexus SUV parked behind my Honda in the driveway. She's wearing a long cashmere coat, the color of cream designer sunglasses pushed up into her auburn hair, and that oversized leather tote she bought last spring in Portland. The taller cup venti, probably her usual caramel macchiato with extra whipped cream, sits in her left hand. The shorter grande, likely black coffee my supposed preference, balances in her right. She smiles at the camera lens, lifts the cup slightly as if to say, "I come bearing gifts," and rings the bell a second time. I save the footage to my phone, take a slow breath, and open the door. Audrey. Her voice is bright, almost musical. I hope I'm not interrupting. I was driving past and thought, why not stop by? You've been so quiet since Thursday lunch, and I wanted to check in. Make sure you're okay. She steps inside before I can respond, sets both cups on the entryway console table, and pulls me into a hug that smells like expensive perfume and caramel syrup. I hug her back, keep my face neutral, and close the door behind her. "I'm fine," I say, taking the grande cup she offers. "Just busy. You know how year-end gets vendor contracts, budget reviews, all that fun stuff." "Of course." She follows me into the living room, settles onto the sofa, crosses her legs. "That's actually why I wanted to talk. I've been thinking a lot about you, about how hard this year has been. Losing Graham, running the company mostly alone, dealing with all his unfinished business." I sit in the armchair across from her, sip the coffee. It's lukewarm, probably from a drive-through 20 minutes ago, and wait. "Audrey, can I be honest with you?" She leans forward, rests her elbows on her knees, looks at me with wide, concerned eyes. "I'm worried about you. I think you've been carrying a weight you don't talk about, and I think Graham left you with more questions than answers." "What do you mean?" She hesitates, glances down at her cup, then back up. "This is hard to say, but I feel like I owe it to you. Graham wasn't happy toward the end. I mean, not with the company, he loved the work, but with everything else, with the marriage." My stomach tightens, but I keep my expression calm. "Where is this coming from?" "He talked to me a few times last year. You know how close we were. I mean, I've been with Callahan and Hollis since you two founded it. He trusted me." She reaches across the coffee table, touches my hand. "He told me he felt trapped, that he was thinking about separation, maybe even divorce." I pull my hand back, gently take another sip of coffee to hide the anger rising in my chest. "Graham never said anything like that to me. Of course not." Her voice drops to a whisper, sympathetic, almost pitying. "He didn't want to hurt you. But Audrey, he was struggling. He was working late all the time, barely sleeping. I saw him at the office on a Saturday in February, 2 weeks before he died, and he looked exhausted. He told me he was putting together some kind of plan, a way to step back from the company, maybe even push you out." "Push me out?" I let disbelief color my voice. "That doesn't sound like Graham." "I know." She nods quickly, as if she expected my reaction. "That's what I said too." But he was adamant. He kept saying he needed to protect the business, that there were things he couldn't explain yet. He asked me to keep it quiet until he was ready. She pauses, watches me, and I realize she's testing me, trying to see if I believe her, if I'm vulnerable enough to accept this lie. I give her nothing. "Why are you telling me this now?" I ask. "Because I don't want you to be blindsided." She sits back, smooths her coat. "Look, I don't know what Graham was planning, but I know he left files, documents, maybe emails or recordings. And if you find them, I want you to come to me first, before you go to a lawyer or an accountant or anyone else. Because whatever he wrote, it might not be the whole story. It might be one-sided." There it is, the real reason she's here. "I haven't found anything," I say evenly. "I mean, I went through his office at home a few months ago, clothes, old tax returns, insurance paperwork. Nothing unusual. Why do you think there's something I should be looking for?" Her face tightens for half a second, just long enough for me to catch it, then smooths again. No. I know how thorough Graham was, and I know he kept records of everything. So if you do come across something old, QuickBooks files, vendor invoices, anything financial, just call me before you act on it." "Okay. Why would vendor invoices matter?" She waves a hand dismissively. "Oh, you know. Graham was paranoid about fraud. He used to audit every contractor payment himself, check for duplicate invoices, compare signatures. It drove me crazy because he'd ask me to verify things I'd already signed off on. But that's just how he was." I nod slowly. "Right. He did mention something about discrepancies a while back. Something about consulting fees." Her hand freezes halfway to her coffee cup. "Consulting fees? Yeah." I keep my tone casual. He said there were some invoices, maybe $400,000 over a few years, that didn't quite add up. He wanted to review them with the accountant. But then he died. Veronica's face goes pale. She sets her cup down, carefully clears her throat. "I don't remember anything like that." "Are you sure?" "Pretty sure." I meet her eyes. "Why does that ring a bell?" "No." She stands abruptly, smooths her coat again, picks up her tote. "No, I'm sure it was just Graham being Graham." Overanalyzing, Anyway, I should go. I have a thing at 5. She walks to the door and I follow. She pauses on the threshold, turns back, pulls me into another hug, this one tighter, almost desperate. "Audrey, listen to me," she whispers into my ear. "If you love Graham's memory, if you respect what you two built together, don't go digging through old files without talking to me first. There are things you don't understand, things that could hurt you. I'm trying to protect you." "From what?" She pulls back, and for a split second, I see fear in her eyes. Then she smiles, kisses my cheek. "From the truth." She walks to her Lexus, climbs in, and drives away. I close the door, lock it, lean against it, and exhale. Then I pull out my phone and call Warren Grisham. He answers on the second ring. "Audrey." I open the USB, I say quietly. "I have everything. The invoices, the emails, the video testimony, all of it. And Veronica just left my house. She knows I'm on to her. We need to move fast." There's a pause. Then, "Can you come to my office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp? Bring everything, the USB, the journal, the cash, the bank statements. We'll draft a demand letter and file with the DA by end of business Monday. I'll be there." "Good. And Audrey, don't talk to Veronica again. Not until this is over." "I won't." I hang up, save the Ring doorbell footage of Veronica's arrival and departure, and sit down at the kitchen table. Tomorrow at 9, I'll walk into Warren's office with $412,890 worth of evidence, and my sister will never see it coming. The doorbell rings at 10:30 Monday morning, December 20th, 2.5 hours before my meeting with Warren. I glance at the Ring camera feed a postal worker in a blue uniform holding a cardboard envelope, the kind that requires a signature. I open the door sign, the electronic tablet he offers, and take the envelope. The return address is printed in neat block letters: Kent Ashford, Attorney at Law, 1847, Commercial Street, Southeast Salem, Oregon, 97302. I close the door, photograph the unopened envelope on the kitchen counter front, and back clear shots of the postmark and return label, then slice it open with a butter knife. 3 pages slide out, printed on heavy cream letterhead with a gold-embossed law firm logo at the top. I stand at the counter and read. The heading spans the width of the first page in bold: demand for return of property. Below it, my full legal name and home address. Then the body dense paragraphs in 12-point Times New Roman, every sentence, a carefully worded threat. This office represents Ms. Veronica L. Hollis in matters related to Callahan and Hollis Property Management, LLC. It has come to our attention that you are currently in possession of proprietary company documents, financial records, and trade secrets removed from company premises without authorization. These materials constitute company property under the terms of the partnership agreement executed November 2017. We hereby demand the immediate return of all financial records dated 2018 to present. All consulting contracts and invoices, all correspondence related to vendor relationships, any materials removed from company offices or storage facilities. Failure to comply within 1414 calendar days will result in civil action for breach of fiduciary duty. Claims for theft of trade secrets under Oregon revised statutes, damages in excess of $500,000, immediate injunctive relief. Any communication with contractors, vendors, or clients concerning internal company matters will be considered defamation and prosecuted accordingly. Please confirm receipt of this letter and schedule return of materials within the stated deadline. The signature at the bottom is a scrawled Kent Ashford followed by his Oregon State bar number. The date is Friday, December 17th, 2 days before Veronica showed up at my house with Starbucks cups and fake sympathy. I set the letter down, walk to the living room window, and stare out at the gray December sky. The timeline clicks into place. She hired a lawyer. Thursday or early Friday, had this letter drafted and mailed, certified by Friday afternoon. Then showed up Sunday afternoon when the letter alone hadn't scared me into silence. She's building a paper trail, creating a narrative in which I'm the thief, the paranoid widow stealing company secrets. And she's doing it fast. I photograph all 3 pages, open my phone, and text, "Warren received legal threat letter from Veronica's attorney. Will bring to meeting." His reply comes within 60 seconds. Good. Do not respond. See you at 1 p.m. At 1 o'clock, I walk into Warren's conference room carrying everything the USB drive in a Ziploc bag labeled with today's date and my initials. Graham's leather journal wrapped in a clean kitchen towel, the 48 bank statements in their original manila envelope, the cash still bundled in the fireproof lockbox, and Kent Ashford's 3-page threat tucked into a clear plastic sleeve. Warren reads the letter first, his reading glasses perched halfway down his nose, and when he finishes, he sets it aside and smiles. Not a warm smile, but the tight, satisfied smile of a litigator who's just been handed an easy win. This panic is beautiful. They're threatening $500,000. They're threatening to sue you for possessing evidence of their client's crimes. That's not how the law works. He taps the letter with one finger. The partnership agreement doesn't prevent you from retaining Graham's personal files. He owned 50% of the company. You're his widow and executor. You have legal standing to access any records he left behind. More importantly, evidence of criminal conduct is not a trade secret. You can't steal evidence. You can't defame someone with the truth. So this letter is intimidation. Kent's testing whether you'll back down. He knows it's weak, but he's hoping you don't. What do we do? Ignore it for now. We'll respond after we file with the DA. Let them sweat. He pulls his laptop closer, opens a folder labeled Callahan Hollis, and plugs in the USB drive. Let's see what Graham left you. For the next 40 minutes, Warren clicks through folders, opens, files, reads, metadata reports, and watches the 4-minute, 12-second video testimony twice, pausing to take notes on a yellow legal pad each time Graham mentions a specific date or dollar amount. When the video ends and Graham's face freezes on the screen, pale, exhausted but determined, Warren sits back and exhales slowly. Your husband was meticulous. He was terrified she'd destroy the evidence. She would have. Warren closes the video file, pulls up the invoice metadata spreadsheet. This is a prosecutor's dream. Multiple felony counts. Embezzlement, felony theft by deception over $10,000. Identity theft, felony forgery of your signatures, 14 separate counts. Wire fraud, federal felony electronic fund transfers across state lines for fraudulent purposes. Money laundering, concealing proceeds of theft through a shell company. I feel the weight of those words settle in my chest like stones. How much prison time? Combined 8 to 12 years realistically. Plus restitution fines probation, and that's assuming she pleads out. If this goes to trial and a jury convicts on all counts, she could face 20. 8 to 12 years. Veronica's life erased. I thought I'd feel satisfaction hearing that number, but instead I just feel tired, sad. She was my sister before she was a thief. Warren seems to sense my hesitation. He closes the laptop, folds his hands on the table, and leans forward. Audrey, I want to show you something else I found. He opens a manila folder, pulls out a printed document, a property deed from the Marion County Recorder's Office, and slides it across the table. Veronica owns her house with Trevor Wright, the one on Sycamore Drive. Right. That's registered under both their names, joint tenancy, but there's another property. He taps the deed. An LLC called VLH Holdings, registered March 21st, 2021. March, 2 weeks after Graham died. VLH Holdings owns 2 rental properties in Salem. 447 Birch Street Southeast, purchased June 15th for $195,000 cash. 1240 Cascade Avenue Northeast, purchased November 9th for $185,000 cash. He lets that sink in. $380,000 in cash real estate purchases in 6 months while you were grieving your husband. I can't breathe. She was buying rental properties with stolen money. Yes, and here's the kicker, she bought them in our industry. Residential rental properties using money embezzled from your property management company. He pulls up photos on his laptop, a modest 2-bedroom bungalow with white siding, a small duplex with a gravel driveway. She listed herself as the LLC's registered agent. Put her own name on the title deeds. She basically handed us a roadmap to her assets. Can we take them back? Absolutely. Oregon law allows victims to recover assets purchased with stolen funds. We'll add them to the settlement demand, $412,890 in restitution for the embezzled funds, plus $485,000 for her partnership buyout, plus transfer of both properties to you as further restitution. She walks away with nothing. You get the company the cash and the houses she bought with your money. I stare at the photos. 2 rental properties. Tenants living inside them, paying rent to Veronica every month, funding the life she built on my husband's corpse. When do we send the demand letter? Tomorrow morning. Certified mail to both Veronica and Kent Ashford. We'll include a criminal complaint for the Marion County DA embezzlement, identity theft, wire fraud, forgery, but we'll hold it in escrow. If she settles within 72 hours, we don't file. If she refuses, we file immediately and let the DA decide whether to prosecute. And if she settles, she signs over her partnership share transfers the 2 properties, pays full restitution, and agrees never to contact you or any company clients again. In exchange, we don't pursue criminal charges. She'll take it. She'd be insane not to. The alternative is prison. I close my eyes, try to imagine Veronica reading that letter, watching her carefully constructed lies collapse in a single afternoon. Part of me wants to feel victorious. Mostly, I just feel hollow. Send the letters, I say quietly. Warren nods, closes the folder. They'll go out tomorrow morning. She'll have them by Wednesday. 72 hours to respond. I gather my things. USB journal, lockbox bank statements, and walk out into the cold December afternoon. My phone rings as I unlock my car. The screen shows an unfamiliar number with a Salem area code. I almost let it go to voicemail, then change my mind and answer. Mrs. Callahan. A man's voice, hesitant, strained. This is Trevor Hollis, Veronica's husband. I need to talk to you about Veronica, about what she's been doing. I think I'm a victim too. Tuesday morning, December 21st. I sit at the kitchen table with my phone in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other, and I call Trevor Hollis back. He answers on the first ring. Trevor, you said you're a victim too. What did Veronica do? His voice is tight, barely controlled. 3 weeks ago, I found paperwork in her desk drawer. A mortgage application, $95,000 against our house. My signature was on it. But you didn't sign it. I didn't even know the loan existed. I compared it to my real signature driver's license, tax returns, bank documents. It was close, really close, but wrong. The spacing between letters, the pressure on certain strokes. She forged my name. I close my eyes. Trevor, I'm so sorry. I filed for divorce yesterday. Then your lawyer's office called me about 2 properties, 447 Birch and 1240 Cascade. I had no idea she owned them. She never told me. Not once. She hid them in an LLC. Oregon's a community property state. Those houses should be half yours. Exactly. But I didn't know they existed until Warren Grisham's paralegal left me a voicemail asking if I wanted to contest the asset seizure. He pauses and I hear him exhale slowly. Mrs. Callahan Audrey, I'm calling because I'll testify against her. In court, at a settlement meeting, wherever you need me. She forged my name. She stole from me. She's been lying for years and I was too blind to see it. Thank you, Trevor. I should have seen it sooner. The late nights, the credit card bills, she said, were work expenses, the way she'd get angry whenever I asked about money. I ignored all of it because I wanted to believe her. But I'm done believing. I pull Warren into a 3-way call. Warren's voice is steady, professional. Mr. Hollis, can you meet me at my office this morning? Bring the forged mortgage documents and any other financial records you think might be relevant. Yes, 9:45. Perfect. See you then. At 9:45, Trevor walks into Warren's conference room carrying a manila folder and looking like he hasn't slept in days. He's in his early 30s, clean cut, wearing a wrinkled button-down shirt and khakis, an engineer maybe, or someone who works in an office where appearance matters less than precision. He sets the folder on the table, opens it, and slides 3 pages across to Warren a mortgage application dated November 8, 2021, with Trevor's signature at the bottom. Warren examines it under the desk lamp, pulls up a reference signature Trevor provides from his driver's license, and nods slowly. Same digital alteration pattern we saw in Audrey's forgeries. Veronica scanned your real signature, manipulated it in Photoshop or a similar program, and pasted it onto the document. The kerning's off by 0.02 millimeters. A bank wouldn't catch it, but a forensic examiner would. She did this to get cash, $95,000 in equity. She probably told the lender you were refinancing to consolidate debt. The money went into an account you didn't have access to, and she used it to fund whatever she was funding. Gambling, maybe, or the down payment on one of those rental properties. Trevor's jaw tightens. Will you need me to testify? If this goes to trial, yes. But more immediately, can you attend a settlement meeting? Probably Friday. I'll be there. She needs to face what she's done. To you, to me, to everyone. After Trevor leaves, Warren turns to me. This is devastating for her case. It establishes a pattern. Forgery wasn't a one-time mistake born of desperation. It's how she operates. I nod, but I feel hollow. My sister didn't just steal from me. She destroyed everyone close to her. That evening at 6:45, I'm sitting at home when the doorbell rings. I check the camera, my mother, Eleanor Brennan, standing on the porch in the same navy coat she wore to Graham's funeral 9 months ago, her hands trembling as she presses the bell a second time. I open the door. Mom, can I come in? We sit at the kitchen table, the place where all our difficult conversations happen. I make tea neither of us will drink. She doesn't take off her coat. Veronica called me this morning. She says, finally. She was crying. She said you hired a lawyer, that you're accusing her of crimes, that you're trying to destroy her. Did she tell you what she did? She said it was a misunderstanding, that Graham kept poor records, that the consulting fees were legitimate. That's her story. Do you want to hear mine? Eleanor waits silent. I take a breath. She stole $412,000 over 4 years. Graham documented everything: fake invoices, forged emails, shell company bank transfers. She created a fake consulting firm, sent herself invoices from fake email accounts, forged my signature on approvals, and funneled the money into her personal account. Then she used it to gamble. Casino records show losses of $180,000. Eleanor absorbs this slowly. I continue. But the theft isn't the worst part. She forged my signature 14 times. She made it look like I approved payments to a fraudulent vendor. If Graham hadn't kept evidence, I'd be the one facing embezzlement charges. She tried to frame me. No, Veronica wouldn't. She did. Graham found out. He built a case, gave her 6 months to pay it back. She didn't pay a single dollar. Instead, she forged more documents and bought rental properties with stolen money. Eleanor's face crumples. I gave her money. Over the years. $60,000, maybe more. She'd call crying, say she needed help with bills, with emergencies. I thought I was helping. You were enabling her. I know. Tears slide down her cheeks. She was my baby, the one who always struggled. You were always so capable, so strong. Veronica needed me more. She's a gambling addict, Mom, and a thief, and she tried to destroy me to cover it up. Eleanor closes her eyes. My daughter is a criminal, and I helped create this. You didn't make her forge my signature. 3 months ago, Eleanor says quietly. September. Veronica came to visit. Just her, no Trevor. She seemed anxious. She said Graham was acting strange, keeping separate records. She was worried he was hiding money, maybe planning to push you out. She told you Graham was stealing. Not directly. She implied it. She said, if Audrey finds any weird financial records, tell her to call me first. I can explain. I don't want her to panic. I feel cold. She was setting up her defense. If I found evidence, she'd claim I was faking it or misunderstanding it. That's why I called you Monday morning, asked about Graham's belongings. I thought I was helping you, but I was helping her. Silence stretches between us. Finally, Eleanor speaks, and her voice is steel. What do you need me to do? The truth. A sworn statement about the $60,000 you gave her, about what she said in September. If this goes to court, I need you to testify. Against Veronica. Against fraud. She's my daughter. So am I. Eleanor stares at her hands for a long time. Then she looks up and her eyes are clear. She forged your signature. Tried to make people think you were the criminal. That's not desperation. That's cruelty. Mom, I've spent 34 years making excuses for her. Bad grades blame the teachers. Lost jobs blame the bosses. Money problems gave her cash. I never held her accountable. But framing you, there's no excuse for that. She reaches across the table, takes my hand. I'll give a statement. I'll testify. I'll do whatever you need. This might cost you your relationship with Veronica. She cost me that when she tried to destroy you. I choose justice. I choose you. We hold each other and cry. After Eleanor leaves, my phone rings Kent Ashford. I put it on speaker. Mrs. Callahan, my client, would like to meet. Friday, 10 a.m., Mr. Grisham's office. We're ready to negotiate terms. I call Warren immediately. They want to settle. Good, that's exactly what we expected. What if she's planning something? Let her try. We have everything, the journal, the USB, the video, the property, deeds, Trevor's testimony, your mother's statement. She's got nothing left but desperation. Friday at 10, we end this. Thursday morning, December 23rd, one day before the confrontation. Warren Grisham's conference room looks like a courtroom war room. Fiona Warren and I are preparing for tomorrow's meeting the way trial lawyers prepare for opening statements, methodically, relentlessly, with nothing left to chance. The conference table is covered in documents arranged in precise stacks. Warren stands at the head sorting evidence into 4 presentation binders, labeled in black Sharpie. Binder 1, Financial Evidence, 52 fake invoices from Hollis Consulting, LLC with metadata, showing Veronica's laptop as author, and 48 months of bank statements with highlighted wire transfers totaling $412,890. Binder 2, Email Forensics, 89 fraudulent emails sent from IP 192.168.1.147, Veronica's home router, plus domain registrations showing she created fake vendor accounts. Binder 3, Forgery Analysis, 14 side-by-side signature comparisons with Janet Kroger's forensic report certifying 87% probability of digital manipulation. Binder 4, Supporting Evidence, Spirit Mountain Casino statements showing $179,500 in losses, Graham's journal excerpts, and photos of the hidden garage cabinet. Warren's laptop sits open the video file Graham_Callahan_testimony_February 20_2021.mp4 queued. 4 minutes, 12 seconds of my dead husband accusing my sister of embezzlement, fraud, and forgery. Tomorrow I'll present systematically, Warren says, tapping the binders. Financials first, then forgeries, then the video. Kent will try to negotiate before we show anything, but I'll insist on laying out evidence first. Once he sees it's ironclad, he'll advise settlement. What if she denies everything? I ask. She will at first, but Kent's competent. He'll recognize this is unwinnable and tell her to settle or face prosecution. Fiona asks the question I'm afraid to voice. Worst case scenario. Warren doesn't hesitate. She refuses. We file the criminal complaint Monday. The Marion County DA prosecutes. She faces 8 to 12 years and we still seize the properties. She loses everything. Best case, she signs tomorrow, pays $897,890 restitution, plus partnership buyout within 75 days, transfers both rental properties, resigns with a non-contact clause. We hold the criminal complaint in escrow. If she violates the settlement, we file immediately. Warren opens a manila folder and slides a document across the table. Your mother came in yesterday. She gave this statement. I pick it up 3 pages typed on Warren's letterhead, notarized with Eleanor Brennan's signature in blue ink. My hands tremble as I read. I, Eleanor Marie Brennan, being duly sworn, depose and state. Between January 2018 and November 2021, I provided my daughter, Veronica Lynn Hollis, with approximately $60,000 in cash gifts and personal loans for claimed emergencies. I now believe these funds supported gambling activities and concealed financial misconduct. In September 2021, Veronica visited and expressed concern that Graham Callahan was acting strange and keeping separate records. She suggested that if Audrey found unusual financial documents, I should advise her to consult Veronica first to avoid misunderstandings. I now understand this was an attempt to manipulate me into discouraging investigation of Veronica's embezzlement. I deeply regret enabling my daughter's behavior and am prepared to testify under oath. My eyes blur. I set the affidavit down carefully. She actually did it. It's powerful, Warren says quietly. It shows Veronica manipulated her own mother. A jury would find that devastating. The office phone rings. Warren's receptionist's voice crackles through the intercom. Mr. Grisham Trevor Hollis on line 2 about tomorrow. Warren presses the speakerphone button. Mr. Hollis, can I be there tomorrow? At the meeting. Trevor's voice is strained. Warren glances at me. I nod. Your testimony would be useful, but Kent Ashford may object to your presence. Are you prepared for that? What would he say? That you're not a party to Audrey's dispute, that this is private settlement negotiation, that bringing you in is prejudicial. And what would you say that you're a victim of related fraud by the same perpetrator using identical methods? Pattern of conduct evidence. It establishes Veronica's modus operandi. It's legally relevant and highly prejudicial to her case, which is exactly why Kent will object. Will it work? Probably. Kent will object for the record, but your testimony is admissible. The question is whether Veronica will tolerate sitting in a room with you. Good, I want her uncomfortable. She needs to know she destroyed our marriage, stole from her sister, and lied about everything. Warren allows a small, tight smile. Be here at 9:45. Bring the forged mortgage documents. I'll introduce your testimony right after the video when emotions are running high. I'll be there. After Warren hangs up, he turns to us. Tomorrow's timeline, 10 a.m. Veronica and Kent arrive. Kent will try to negotiate before we present evidence. I'll refuse. We'll go through the binders, systematically invoices, emails, forgeries. Then the video. Then Trevor as a surprise witness. We'll recess so Kent can caucus with Veronica. Then they'll either sign or walk out. What if she won't listen to reason, I ask. Then Kent will tell her bluntly, settle or go to prison. That's his job. He's a mid-tier attorney who knows when a case is lost. When he sees this evidence, he'll advise settlement. Fiona looks at me. What's our role tomorrow? Warren answers, your moral support and a witness to the settlement signing. Audrey stays mostly silent. Let me present. She speaks only if I ask or if she wants a final statement. What should I say when I ask? Whatever you need to. She tried to destroy you. You have the right to the last word. That night, I'm alone at home, unable to sleep. Tomorrow changes everything. I walk to the garage where Graham built the hidden cabinet where Diego found the lockbox 9 days ago. Graham's workbench is still covered in tools. I pick up his label maker, turn it over. The last label he made is still visible. Emergency. For Audrey only. He knew he might not finish this. He built a fail-safe so I could... I'm finishing it tomorrow, I whisper to the empty garage. My phone buzzes. A text from Fiona. You've got this. Graham's with you. Then Eleanor, I'm proud of you. No matter what happens tomorrow, I'm proud. No message from Veronica. She's probably strategizing with Kent, preparing her denials. Friday morning arrives. 9:47 a.m. I stand outside Warren's office building, Fiona beside me. Winter wind cold against my face. Above the door, the brass plaque reads, Grisham and Associates, Estate and Litigation Law. Fiona looks at me. Ready? I think about Graham, about 4 years of theft, about forged signatures and a sister who tried to frame me, about the lockbox labeled Emergency and Graham's final journal entry, finish what I started. Yeah, let's finish this. We walk inside. All right. We're about to enter the confrontation, the meeting where everything I'd built came crashing down on Veronica. But first comment the number 15 below, so I know you've made it this far with me. Fair warning, what follows includes fictionalized details for narrative purposes. If that's not your thing, now's your chance to exit. Still here, then let's finish this. 10 o'clock, 2 a.m. Friday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Warren Grisham's conference room. I sit to Warren's right, Fiona beside me, one empty chair on our side of the long table. Across from us, 2 empty chairs. The door opens. Kent Ashford enters first mid-40s gray suit leather briefcase, the energy of a man who knows he's walking into a bad situation. Behind him, Veronica. She sees me. She stops. Her eyes are red-rimmed makeup carefully applied to hide exhaustion. She's wearing a navy blazer, cream blouse, gold earrings, the armor of someone trying to project control. But her hands tremble as she sets her purse on the table. "Audrey," she says, voice tentative, "can we talk privately before we—" Warren cuts her off. "No private conversations. Everything goes on the record." He gestures to the chairs. "Please sit." Kent pulls out a yellow legal pad. Veronica sits slowly, staring at me like she's trying to find the sister she used to know. Warren straightens his papers. "Before we begin, there's one additional party joining us." Veronica frowns. "Who?" A knock at the door. Trevor walks in. Veronica's face drains of color. "Trevor, what are you—" Trevor doesn't look at her. He sits beside Fiona, sets a manila folder on the table, and folds his hands. "You can't, we're married, this is—" Kent stands. "Objection. Mr. Grisham, this is a private settlement negotiation between business partners. Mr. Hollis is not a party to this dispute." Warren remains seated calm. "Mr. Hollis is a victim of related fraud committed by your client using identical methods. His testimony establishes a pattern of criminal conduct. Pattern evidence is for criminal trials, not civil settlement, which is exactly where this case is headed if we don't settle. Mr. Hollis has filed separate fraud charges related to a forged mortgage application. Those charges will proceed regardless of today's outcome. His presence demonstrates that your client habitually forges signatures. She did it to her husband. She did it to Mrs. Callahan. That's a pattern." Kent leans down, whispers to Veronica. "Did you forge Trevor's signature?" Veronica opens her mouth. No sound comes out. Kent sits defeated. Objection noted for the record as a procedural irregularity. Warren nods. "Shall we begin?" Kent clears his throat, tries to regain footing. "Mr. Grisham, my client is willing to discuss resolution, but we dispute the characterization in your demand letter. The consulting services were legitimate." "Stop right there." Warren's voice is steel. "Before you continue that story, let me present the evidence. Then reassess. We'd prefer to discuss terms after you see what we have. Graham Callahan spent 18 months building a prosecutable case before he died. Everything I'm about to show you was documented by him." Veronica leans forward. "This is ridiculous. Audrey, you're my sister. I speak for the first time. You're also the person who tried to frame me." Warren opens the first binder. "Ms. Hollis, I suggest you listen carefully." He places the first document on the table. Invoice number HC2018001, dated January 2018. Then invoice 002, then 003. He continues one sheet at a time, 52 invoices spreading across the table. Each one professional letterhead service descriptions, Veronica's signature at the bottom. 52 invoices over 48 months. Total $412,890. Kent scans them quickly. Warren continues. All payable to Hollis Consulting LLC, registered solely to Veronica Hollis. No employees, no office, just a P.O. box. Veronica's voice rises. "Those services were legitimate. I coordinated contractors." Warren slides a paper across. "Witness statements from 6 contractors. Your invoices claim you coordinated. None of them ever heard of Hollis Consulting. None of them worked with you." Kent's jaw tightens. Warren opens his laptop projects onto the screen. PDF properties appear. Author Veronica Hollis. Computer Veronica-HP-laptop. Date created January 15th, 2018. Every invoice was created on your personal laptop the same day it's dated. You billed the company in the morning, created the invoice that afternoon. He clicks through metadata for 5 more invoices, all identical patterns. Real consultants have template systems. You made them up as you went. Kent whispers to Veronica, "Is this accurate? I use my home computer for business sometimes." Warren doesn't pause. "Let's discuss your paper trail. You tried to make the invoices look legitimate by creating email chains." He projects an email on screen. Veronica at Hollis Consulting. Come to pacificpropertyvendors@gmail.com. Looks professional, except Pacific Property Vendors doesn't exist. Next slide, domain registration records. Created March 14th, 2019. IP address 192.168.1.147. That's your home IP. Your internet provider confirmed it. He projects more emails scrolling rapidly. 89 emails total. Every contractor email sent from your house. You emailed yourself pretending to be vendors. Kent leans over to Veronica. Did you do that? I used my computer for work emails. You created fake email accounts. You had conversations with yourself. That's fraud. Warren projects QuickBooks records. Now let's follow the money. Company account wires payment to Hollis Consulting LLC. Within 48 hours, the money transfers to your personal account ending in 7734. Not a business account. Personal. He scrolls through transaction after transaction, highlighting the pattern. Immediate cash withdrawals. Classic embezzlement. Kent closes his folder. The sound echoes in the silent room. Warren's voice drops. That's the financial evidence. Now let's discuss what you did to Audrey. He pulls out another binder labeled Forgeries in black Sharpie. Veronica's hands begin shaking visibly. 14 contractor contracts, all bearing Audrey's forged signature, all approving fake vendors you created. Kent's face goes pale. Warren pushes the binder across the table to Kent. 14 forgeries. Examine them one by one. Kent opens the binder. The first page, a split-screen comparison. On the left, my real signature from our 2017 partnership agreement, the pen strokes fluid. The capital A slightly tilted the tail of the Y, extending just past the baseline. On the right, a signature from a 2019 contractor agreement. Similar, but wrong. The A sits too upright. The spacing between letters is fractionally wider. The Y's tail stops short. Warren taps the screen. These contracts approved new vendors. All the vendors were fake, all created by your client. He projects all 14 split-screen comparisons onto the large monitor, one after another. But she didn't just create fake vendors. She forged Audrey's signature to make it appear Audrey had approved them. Warren pulls out a thick document, slides it to Kent. Graham hired a forensic document examiner, Janet Kroger, certified by the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. 47-page report. Summary: 87% probability of forgery across all 14 signatures. Evidence of digital manipulation. Inconsistent stroke order. Source signatures scanned from legitimate documents, then overlaid using digital editing software. Kent reads his face, losing all color. Warren continues, relentless. Your client scanned Audrey's signature from real documents, tax forms, lease agreements, then pasted them onto fake contracts. 14 times. The metadata proves it. Same laptop that created the invoices. Same pattern. Veronica's voice cracks. I lean forward, speak for the second time. You tried to make everyone think I was the thief. No, Audrey, I swear. Warren cuts her off. We're not finished. He opens another folder. In March 2020, you approached Graham, showed him fake emails allegedly from Audrey discussing embezzlement. You told him his wife was stealing from the company. Graham checked the server logs. Those emails originated from your IP address, not Audrey's. You were trying to turn Graham against his own wife. When that failed, you forged her signature, built a paper trail. You were setting up a frame. Veronica is crying now, mascara streaking her face. I was desperate. The gambling debts, I wasn't thinking. You thought clearly enough to forge 14 signatures, create fake email accounts, build an elaborate scheme. Warren's voice is cold. Desperation doesn't excuse calculated fraud. He closes the binder, looks at Kent. Graham documented everything, including why he gave her 6 months to make this right. Warren dims the lights, turns his laptop to face the room. The screen shows a paused video, Graham sitting in our garage, timestamp visible in the corner. February 20th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. Recorded 8 days before he died. Warren presses play. Graham's face fills the screen. The room goes completely silent. His voice is steady, tired, but clear. My name is Graham Callahan. Today is February 20th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. Veronica Hollis has embezzled $412,890 from Callahan and Hollis Property Management over 4 years through a fake consulting company. She attempted to frame my wife Audrey by forging her signature on 14 documents and creating fake emails from Audrey's supposed accounts. He pauses, rubs his face. I confronted Veronica on September 18th, 2020. She admitted to a gambling addiction. I gave her 6 months to repay the money and enter treatment. Another pause. Why didn't I call the police immediately? Because Audrey loves her sister. I tried to handle this quietly to save face for Audrey's family. I was wrong. Veronica doesn't deserve protection. She hasn't repaid a single dollar. She's committed additional forgeries. I'm meeting attorney Warren Grisham on March 1st to file charges. Graham looks directly at the camera and I feel like he's looking at me. If anything prevents that meeting, Audrey used this evidence. Don't let her destroy you. I love you. End of statement. The video stops. Silence stretches for 15 seconds. The only sound is Veronica sobbing. Warren turns the lights back on. Testimony of the deceased. Dated, time-stamped, authenticated. Admissible in court. He turns to Trevor. Mr. Hollis, please share what you found. Trevor looks at Veronica for the first time since entering the room. His voice is flat, emotionless. 3 weeks ago, I found mortgage paperwork in her desk. $95,000 against our house. My signature was on it, but I never signed it. He slides the document to Kent. That's not my signature. It's a forgery. Veronica admitted she did it. Said she needed cash for gambling debts. I'm filing for divorce. Also filing separate fraud charges. She forged my name, stole from me, used my credit to fund her addiction. Warren leans forward. Did you know your wife owned 2 rental properties through VLH Holdings? No, I had no idea. Oregon's a community property state. Those properties should be half mine. She hid them from me, from everyone. Trevor turns to Veronica, and for the first time his voice breaks. You destroyed our marriage. You stole from your own sister. You forged my name. For what to gamble, was it worth it? Veronica can barely speak through her tears. Trevor, I'm sorry No, we can't. He stands, looks at me. Audrey, I'm sorry for not seeing this sooner. Mr. Grisham, I'll testify in court if necessary. He walks out. The door closes behind him. Veronica collapses forward, head in her hands, shoulders shaking. Kent closes his folder slowly. Mr. Grisham, I need to speak with my client, privately. Warren nods. 10 minutes, conference room next door. Kent stands, helps Veronica to her feet. She's unsteady, barely able to walk. They leave. The door closes. Warren turns to me. She's finished. Kent knows it. What happens now? She signs the settlement or she goes to prison. Those are the only 2 options. Fiona squeezes my hand. We sit in silence. The wall clock ticks. 11 minutes pass. The door opens. Kent walks in, alone. Veronica is not with him. My client accepts your settlement terms, full restitution, partnership buyout, property transfers. His voice is formal, defeated. Warren nods. A wise choice. Kent hesitates. But she wants one thing. You don't file the criminal complaint with the DA. She pays, she resigns, she disappears. That's the deal. Warren looks at me. It's your decision. Every eye in the room turns to me. Kent stands waiting for my answer. No criminal filing. Will you accept that term? I look at Warren. Warren leans forward. Let's clarify all terms before Mrs. Callahan decides. Kent nods. Full restitution, $412,890. Partnership buyout, $485,000. Transfer of both rental properties. Immediate resignation. Total $897,890 plus the properties. Warren taps his pen. Payment structure. 75 days, 3 installments. Warren writes quickly. Specifically, day 1, $300,000. Day 45, $300,000. Day 75, $297,890. Property deeds transfer today. Signed at this meeting. Resignation effective immediately. Relinquishment of all ownership rights, management authority, future claims. Non-disparagement clause, neither party publicly discusses this matter. Criminal complaint contingent on full payment. If any installment is late, Mrs. Callahan reserves the right to file with the DA immediately. Kent frowns. That timeline is aggressive. Your client stole for 4 years. She can liquidate assets in 75 days. Warren's voice hardens. And Kent? If she misses one payment, we file criminal charges. $897,000 is a gift compared to 8 to 12 years in prison. Kent stands. I need to explain this to my client. He exits, returns to the adjacent conference room where Veronica waits. Warren turns to me. What do you think? I exhale slowly. 8 to 12 years would destroy her life completely. She tried to destroy yours. I know, but I trail off. Fiona speaks quietly. But what she deserves prison. Graham gave her 6 months because of me. He didn't want to hurt me by destroying my family. Warren's voice is gentle. And she used that mercy to commit more crimes. I know. A long pause. If she pays every dollar on time, she doesn't go to prison. But if she's late even one day, we file the complaint. Warren nods. That's the deal Kent proposed. Then I accept. She gets one chance, only one. 5 minutes later, the door opens. Veronica returns, eyes swollen, face blotchy, not looking at me. She sits heavily. Kent clears his throat. My client agrees to all terms. Warren pulls out a document. Verbal agreement isn't enough. We need signatures. He slides an 8-page settlement across the table. Pages 1 and 2, payment terms and schedule. Page 3, property transfers with deeds attached. Page 4, resignation, relinquishment of rights. Page 5, non-disparagement. Page 6, contingent criminal complaint. Pages 7 and 8, signatures, notarization. Warren looks at Veronica. Ms. Hollis sign on each designated line. Veronica's hand shakes so badly she can barely hold the pen. It takes 4 minutes to sign all 8 pages. Some signatures are nearly illegible. Kent signs as witness. Warren turns to me. Mrs. Callahan. I sign clearly, steadily. My name is straight on every page. Warren signs as attorney. I'll have this notarized and filed today. Property deeds will be recorded Monday. First payment is due today. Kent's head snaps up. Today, upon execution, that's the term. Wire transfer instructions are attached. By 5 p.m. today. Kent nods stiffly. Understood. Veronica's voice cracks. Audrey, can I say no? Please, I need you to know. Stop. You're my sister. I stand. You don't have the right to say that. The room goes completely silent. I face Veronica directly. Everyone watches. My voice is steady cold. You didn't just steal money. Theft I could have understood. Desperation, addiction, bad choices. I could have forgiven that. But you tried to destroy me. You forged my name 14 times, created fake emails from my accounts, built evidence to make everyone think I was the criminal. You went to Graham and tried to convince him his wife was embezzling. You tried to turn my husband against me. Veronica whispers, I was desperate. You were calculated. You planned each forgery, created email accounts, manufactured evidence. That's not desperation. That's premeditation. Graham gave you 6 months because he loved me and didn't want to hurt my family. He carried that burden alone in the last months of his life. My voice catches slightly. He died one day before the lawyer meeting. The stress of investigating you, protecting me from someone I trusted. I steady myself. I'm not saying you killed him, but you stole his final months, filled them with betrayal instead of peace. You didn't just betray the company. You betrayed family. You tried to destroy my reputation, my marriage, my life. And you've lost everything. Your marriage, your job, your houses, your family, your freedom, all gone. I lean forward. Was it worth it? Did those hours at the casino feel good? Veronica can't speak. I don't forgive you. I don't want your apology. I don't want your reasons. I want you gone from my life. I turn to Kent. Make sure she understands. Miss one payment, I file. Contact me, I file. Come near my home, my business, or my friends, I file. She gets one chance to pay and disappear. I look at Warren. I'm done. I walk to the door. At the threshold, I turn back one last time. You were my sister. I loved you. You destroyed that. Don't ever try to get it back. I walk out. Fiona follows. We step into the elevator in silence. As the elevator descends, my phone buzzes. A text from Warren, payment received. $300,000, 4:47 p.m. She paid. It's over. I stare at the screen. 4:47, 13 minutes before the deadline. She barely made it. Fiona reads over my shoulder. You did it. I can't speak. I just nod. 9 months of grief, 3 weeks of investigation, 4 hours of confrontation, and it's done. I sit in Fiona's apartment that night, Christmas Eve, staring at a glass of untouched Pinot Noir on the coffee table. The apartment is warm, a small tree blinking colored lights in the corner, but I feel cold inside. Fiona sits across from me, wrapped in a blanket, watching carefully. "How do you feel?" she asks. "I don't know anymore. Empty, relieved, all of it at once." "That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline for 3 weeks. Now it's hitting you." I keep thinking about Graham. How he carried this alone for months, built all that evidence while pretending everything was fine, came home every night and kissed me and never said a word. "He did it to protect you." "I know, but he shouldn't have had to. We could have handled it together. We were partners. He was trying to spare you the pain. Instead, he carried all of it himself, all the betrayal, all the anger, all the weight of knowing my sister was destroying us." Silence stretches between us. I finally pick up the wine glass, turn it in my hands without drinking. "I wonder if the stress contributed," I say quietly. "The doctors said his heart condition was genetic, but stress is a trigger. What if investigating Veronica, carrying that secret, building that case in secret? What if it pushed him over the edge?" Fiona's voice is firm. "You can't think like that. You'll drive yourself crazy." "I know, but I can't help it." I set the glass down. Graham made choices. He chose to investigate quietly. He chose to give her 6 months. He chose not to tell me until he had ironclad proof. Those were his choices, and you finished it for him. I did. He'd be proud of that at least. Finally, I cry, not from grief, but from release. The tears come hard and fast, 3 weeks of tension pouring out. Fiona moves to the couch beside me, holds me while I shake. It's done. It's really done. The next 75 days feel surreal. Life continues. I manage the properties, deal with contractors, answer tenant calls, live my routines. But underneath everything, I'm waiting, watching for payments. Day 1, Christmas Eve, 5 p.m., the first $300,000 arrives. I'd watched the clock all afternoon, wondering if Veronica would actually pay or if this would collapse into criminal charges. When Warren's text came at 4:47, 13 minutes before the deadline, I exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. Day 45, early February. I'm having lunch with Fiona when my phone buzzes. Warren's text, second payment received. $300,000. On schedule. I show Fiona the screen. She squeezes my hand. 1 more to go. Day 75, mid-March. I'm sitting in the garage office, the space where Graham worked, where he built the hidden cabinet, when Warren calls instead of texting. "It's done, Audrey. Final payment just cleared. $297,890. Total received $897,890. Property's transferred to your name this morning. You own everything. She's out." I sit staring at the computer screen, the bank balance reflecting numbers I never expected to see. This is justice. This is vindication for Graham. This is what he died trying to achieve. That same afternoon, I log into the mortgage account and initiate an electronic payoff. Balance $173,000. I transfer the funds, watch the confirmation screen appear, print the receipt. The house on Hawthorne Ridge, where we lived 6 years, where we planned to build a family, where we lost Rowan at 18 weeks, where Graham built the cabinet that held the evidence that saved me. Now it's mine, completely. Mortgage paid with money recovered from the person who tried to destroy me. There's poetry in that. A week after the final payment clears, Eleanor comes for Thursday dinner. Our new ritual started in January. We sit at the kitchen table with roasted chicken and salad, and she's quieter than usual. "I talked to Veronica," she says finally. "One phone call. She called me last week." I set my fork down. "What did she say?" "She's selling the house, moving to Arizona, somewhere near Phoenix. The divorce from Trevor is final. She's lost everything, the marriage, the job, the properties, her reputation. She's starting over where no one knows her." "Good." Eleanor looks at me carefully. "She asked if I could talk to you, see if there's a way you two could eventually—" "No." I told her that. Told her she destroyed something that can't be rebuilt. Not now. Maybe not ever. Eleanor pushes food around her plate. She's attending Gamblers Anonymous meetings, court-ordered. The Marion County DA is still investigating based on Trevor's complaint about the forged mortgage. Her settlement with you resolved your case, but Trevor's charges are separate. Is she being prosecuted? Possibly. The DA hasn't decided yet. But even without prison, she's lost everything that mattered. She brought it on herself. I know. Eleanor's voice is sad but firm. I told her I can't have a relationship with her until she takes real accountability. She keeps saying she's sick. She's an addict. She couldn't help it. That's an explanation, not an excuse. Exactly what I said. Eleanor looks up. Will you ever talk to her again? I consider the question honestly. Maybe. Someday. If she actually goes through real treatment and shows real change over years, not weeks. But not now. Not for a long time. April 2022. 4 months after the confrontation. I'm working on a project that's consumed me for weeks. At Thursday dinner, I show Eleanor the laptop screen. The Graham and Rowan Callahan Foundation appears in elegant serif font above a mission statement. Eleanor reads aloud, "To assist families affected by financial fraud and gambling addiction through forensic accounting services, treatment resources, and educational scholarships, I'm using $100,000 from the settlement as seed funding, starting a nonprofit." What will it do? 3 things. First, pay for forensic accounting services for fraud victims who can't afford lawyers, people like me, but without resources. Second, fund meeting spaces and materials for gamblers' anonymous groups. Third, college scholarships for children of addicts' kids who lost everything because of a parent's addiction. Eleanor's eyes fill. Graham would love this. He left me the foundation, the evidence, the settlement, the vindication. Now I'm building something good on top of it. Eleanor volunteers to help with administrative work. Fiona joins the board of directors. Even Trevor donates $10,000, his own way of making amends for not seeing what Veronica was doing sooner. The first scholarship goes to a 19-year-old girl from Eugene. Her father embezzled from his employer, bankrupted the family, went to prison. She wants to study forensic accounting. To catch people like my dad, she tells me at the small award ceremony in Warren's conference room. She's thin, serious, determined. I hug her tight. Think about Graham catching people like Veronica, turning pain into purpose. Tonight, I sit in the renovated garage office. Graham's old brother, label maker, still sits on the corner of the desk. Our wedding photo, both of us laughing, caught mid-dance, sits in a silver frame beside the grainy ultrasound image of Rowan we never got to meet. Sometimes I still use the label maker for silly everyday things. Coffee mug labels that say, Audrey's Don't Touch. File folder tabs, storage bin tags. It reminds me of him. He was a fixer. Even after death, he fixed the biggest thing protecting me from a threat I didn't know existed. He couldn't finish it, so I did. And to you listening to this story, remember this. I sat in that church pew on December 12th, listening to a sermon about walking through valleys of sorrow, never knowing God was about to reveal the truth I needed most. When Diego called me home that Sunday, I believe the Lord guided his hands to that hidden cabinet, not by accident, but by providence. Graham built a mechanism that required someone to search, and God ensured I found it at exactly the right time. Through every sleepless night decoding that password, every moment of family betrayal, when my own sister tried to destroy me, I felt his presence. When I discovered Veronica's crimes, the family betrayal that nearly broke me, God gave me strength I didn't know I possessed. This wasn't just family revenge, it was divine justice working through broken people. Don't be like me. Don't wait in silence when you see something wrong. Don't protect those who weaponize your love. Family betrayal cuts deepest because we trust blindly, but trust must be earned, not assumed. Graham carried his burden alone because he wanted to shield me, and it may have cost him his life. I learned the hard way transparency, even when painful, is better than secrets that kill. My advice: verify everything. Love your family, but audit your books. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting consequences. And when God places evidence in your hands, whether it's a hidden USB drive or a quiet suspicion, don't ignore it. He's trying to protect you. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below about how you'd handle family revenge versus justice. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it and subscribe so you never miss these real-life lessons. Thank you for staying until the very end. I know this was heavy. A quick warning, upcoming stories contain fictionalized elements created for educational purposes. If that's not for you, feel